Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to my midweek live news stream. My hair's doing mad things again, isn't it? Where we'll look at some news items that I have carefully curated. I've not really, I've just looked through things, and if it's caught my eye, it's gone in the list. Right, so before we start, don't forget, well, you can't see for that, hang on, I've got my Patreon shout out down there going, Win Grace is here, news, he says. Let me close that. But before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe. Share the video, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. And Josh Temple's here with his harpoon. I forgot where I want now. Join the live chat, blah, 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 all that stuff, and all that jazz. All the news stories that we're going to be looking at are in the links are in the description, and later on I'll put timestamps in, and all that stuff. Right, we're live on Rumble, so Rumble. We're live on YouTube. We should be live on Rumble if I refresh it and press play. I don't know why it doesn't just come on, because it's stupid. Yes, we're live on Rumble, and we should be live on Twitch. Yes, we are. I keep saying it. Don't know why I keep doing Twitch. I don't get any followers. I don't get anybody watching it. Very rarely, apart from Archmage Frey, that mysterious man. But anyway. Sorry, I've got a tickly nose. Have an argument. I know I always say that. As I said earlier on, the Patreon ticker was going, so don't forget, if you go over to my Patreon page, links in the description for that. There's stuff on there. What the heck? Hang on. There we go. That's my Patreon page. It's got lots of stuff on. If it looks a bit overwhelming, if you're just scrolling down and looking at all the stuff, it's all a lot of Appointment with Fear things because I've uploaded all those to Patreon. But if you go into collections, it's all there. So there's that Old Yorkshire Geek videos, which is like my lists and stuff like that. 10 Stargate running gags, etc. Terror of the Zygons, that's not a list. We're watching the Doctor Who. Another list, etc. And then in the other collections, what's my other collections? Magical Monochrome and Appointment with Fear. So that's it. I'll add more collections. So there we go. That's the Patreon. And there's merchandise. Oh, look, that's Archmage Fraser, that mysterious man from Twitch, as I said. My sole person that watches on Twitch, usually. What was I saying? Merch. We've also got merch. There we go. That Old Yorkshire Geek spread shop where there's lots of stuff to buy. T-shirts and bags and caps and cups, mugs, whatever, aprons that say bloody game, or I've got my stupid face on, or the logo, the text logo, or the other logo, all that stuff. They're all on there. I've ordered some T-shirts, so when they arrive, I'll show you. We'll see what they're like. So hopefully they're good, but we'll see. Right. Got that out of my system. Now then, let's get on with the news, shall we? Let's get on with the news. Windgrace is tired, apparently. It's finding it hard to stay awake today. I won't be helping, will I, with my stupid voice, with my droning monotone. Anyway, I won't plug my books, I can't be bothered. Right, so let's get on with the news, shall we? So here we go. Right, first up. This has been a big news story the last couple of days. This is from Forbes. Carolyn Reed, senior contributor, or is it contributor, whatever, who covers the entertainment industry, focusing on movies and theme parks. So she's basically a Disney person. I think that's what she's trying to say. Disney Star Wars box office profits fail to cover cost of buying Lucasfilm. And there's that thing. Box office profits, she says, generated by Disney Star Wars movies have fallen $2.8 billion short of covering the media giant's purchase of the sci-fi saga's creator, Lucasfilm, according to analysis of recently filed financial statements. Disney bought Lucasfilm for $4 billion in 2012. It was like 4.2 or something like that, whatever. and soon gave the green light to a new trilogy of Star Wars movies which teamed up rising stars Daisy Ridley. She's not a rising star, nobody had heard of her. She'd been in I think one thing before where she played a dead body on the BBC. She was literally just an unknown actress. But John Boyega, yes, he was a rising star. Anyway, with Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and John Boyega, with Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and the late Carrie Fisher, who headlined the original movies more than 30 years earlier. All the stars aligned when The Force Awakens, the first film in the new series, was released in 2015, and I loved it. I still do like Force Awakens. Not as much as I used to, but I still do like it. And I appreciate that, all the controversy that goes with it and all that stuff. But I still like it. It's Grogu, one half of the eponymous title of the upcoming film. Yes, I know, that thing. I bloody hate it. Anyway, hang on, where are we? And howdy to our illustrious friend Steve. Who's Steve? Don't know who that is. It's good. Just busy working on his last day. It's pretty why you got a new job, haven't you? Oh, I thought you'd already started it. But anyway, I hope they're going to give you a good send off. Yes, I hope they do. I was going to throw you out. It's the last day, Josh. Bugger off. They won't. They'll have a big party, a big going away party. If they did that for me, I'd hate it. I don't like a fuss. Anyway, where were we? Force Awakens, right? According to industry analyst Box Office Mojo, it grossed a staggering $2.1 billion, causing Disney to commission 2 spin-off movies, as well as the 2 sequels that were already planned. When you say planned, they were already, they knew they were going to make 2 sequels, but they were far from planned. Let's just, the stories, shall we say. However, as the series continued, there was a disturbance in the Force due to an over-reliance on computer-generated effects and a lack of the gritty, quirky characters who made the original movies smash hits. I don't know what they're talking about there. Well, an over-reliance on computer-generated effects, but not really. That was the least of Star Wars' problems. Is she an idiot? I'm sorry, Caroline Reid. You're a bit of an idiot. Where were we? In 2019, The Rise of Palpatine, the third instalment in the new trilogy, hauled in around half as much at the box office as The Force Awakens, though the series soon had a renaissance. Just a few weeks before the first case of COVID-19 was discovered in December 2019, Disney debuted its first Star Wars streaming series, The Mandalorian. It was an instant success, thanks to the unlikely pairing of its protagonists. The series is named after a gruff, armour-clad bounty hunter played by Pedro Pascal, but not anymore. It's not a lot of people are saying it's now named after Bo-Katan, aren't they? But anyway, who is tasked with tracking down the family of a pointy-eared green alien called Grogu. Photos of the cute character went viral because of its resemblance to the beloved Star Wars sage Yoda. The timing couldn't have been better, as it thrust The Mandalorian into the spotlight just as the world went into lockdown. Viewers were stuck indoors for the majority of the following year, leading to a surge in subscriptions to the Disney Plus streaming platform. It's not that long ago, is it? Lockdown. It's hard to imagine that the world stopped, didn't it? More or less. It's a weird thing, but anyway, and we're still paying for it. Anywho, he starts a new job on Monday, does Josh? Sci-Fi Quest is here. He says, hello, Sci-Fi Quest. Anyway, I hope you're all right, mate. And Rebel Moon's going to be a smash hit. Where were we? The Mandalorian was watched more than any other show, and according to Nielsen, it racked up 5.4 billion minutes of viewing time during its 7-week run, peaking at 1.2 billion during the week its finale aired. It didn't just appeal to fans, but critics too. Yeah, it's pretty good, is The Mandalorian, apart from Season 3. But Seasons 1 and 2, are pretty good. They're not perfect, but they're pretty good. 7 out of 10. Maybe getting to an 8, but, an enjoyable watch. Audiences awarded The Mandalorian a 92% That's a bit much. Rating on review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes. Whilst that word, critics went even further with a score of 93%. In fact, the industry liked it so much that it was nominated for 6 Primetime Emmy Awards and 42 Primetime Creative Arts Emmy Awards, winning in 15 categories. That'll be effects and sound and stuff like that, I bet. Unsurprisingly, it was renewed for 2 further seasons and even spawned its own spin-off series, The Book of Boba Fett, which was bloody awful, which premiered in December 2021. The only reason that a 4th season of The Mandalorian hasn't gone into production is that a movie based on its 2 stars is due to be released in 2026. It doesn't stop there. The show's success... Hey all, Grogu wasn't supposed to be in the show past the handing off to Luke, but they thought people would buy Grogu merch. That's the only reason they brought him back. You know, what's his face? I forgot to put his name now. Jon Favreau had this idea, you know, sending Grogu off to be training with Luke, and then Mando would go off and do his own thing, but I think he was overruled, essentially, probably by Kathleen Kennedy, to be completely honest. Because wasn't Grogu her idea? Or it was her idea for the Mandalorian to be looking after a child. I'm sure that came from her, you know, one of her great ideas. But anyway, but the money people wanted the merchandise, you know, because they were slow to react with the merchandise, weren't they? Because there were lots of people doing like Etsy models and plushies and stuff of Grogu that Disney cracked down on, didn't they? But anyway. But I said they were worried about losing money and merchandise money, because Grogu is essentially the only Star Wars merchandise machine at the moment. Nobody buys anything else, it seems, apart from stuff with Grogu on. But that's why they brought him back at the beginning of season 3 of The Mandalorian. End of season 2, he went off with Luke Skywalker with great fanfare. And then in Book of Boba Fett, there were 2 episodes of The Mandalorian in that, and he got him back, didn't he? Unbelievable. Anyway. I forgot where I was now. Anyway, she's banging on about all this stuff. Right, presentation that Bob Iger gave about how well Disney is doing, and he was saying that the Star Wars trilogy generated 2.9 times return on its investment on the purchase of Lucasfilm, which is a lie. But it goes in here. However, buried in the fine print is the revelation that the purchase price of Lucasfilm isn't even included in the return on investment calculation. Instead, it is purely based on the box office performance of Disney's Star Wars trilogy, its 2 spin-off movies, merchandise, DVD and Blu-ray sales. As revealed from that link, the methodology is questionable, as Disney based their return on investment on the revenue generated by the movies' merchandise. You just said that. Rather than the profit they made, as it should have done. Using the revenue rather than the profit artificially inflates the result, as it doesn't factor in the costs that Disney had to pay out. Because obviously, in terms of movies, Disney doesn't get 100% of the ticket sales, does it? It gets, you know, on average, about 50%, doesn't it? It varies, depending where you are in the world. So there we go. Where were we? Even this wasn't enough for the media giant, so it also forecast the revenue that it expected the Star Wars movies, merchandise, DVDs and Blu-rays to generate over a 10-year period, and based the calculation on that too. It's called, you know, massaging the figures. Pardon me. It was Cartman Kennedy. I haven't even purchased one Grogu. I've got loads of them. I haven't bought many myself, but I've got loads of them. I've got some Grogu pyjamas that I didn't buy for myself. I've got like a Grogu mug over there that I got for Christmas. Loads of Grogu stuff. I don't think I bought any of it myself. Hey, there's no new Star Wars merch. They are reusing Clone Wars stuff and relabeling it for Ahsoka. Typical. Where were we? Where are we? Right, here we go. Analysis of more than 800 pages of company filings has revealed that the cost of making Disney's 5 Star Wars movies hit a total of $2.1 billion, peaking at $567.3 million, £449.1 million. Why they suddenly start putting pounds in, don't know. On The Force Awakens. However, that's just the start of nearly $500 million to make one film. Mindful of this blockbuster budget, Disney devised an ingenious way to make money back on the movie. Instead of shooting it in the United States, it chose Pinewood Studios in the United Kingdom, where the original trilogy of films was made. This enabled it to benefit from the UK government's audiovisual expenditure credit, which gives studios a cash reimbursement of up to 25.5% of the money they spend in the UK, provided that it represents at least 10% of the film's total costs. At the start of this year, the UK government slightly raised the reimbursement ceiling from 25% in the face of competition. Why can't I say that? From other countries which are offering similar schemes. Wingate says, you need a place that sells Blu-rays before people can buy them. Yeah, Amazon or eBay. That's about it these days, isn't it, pretty much? Although my local Asda does have, a limited selection of games and DVDs, but not a lot. There's not a lot. It has helped make the UK a dream ticket for movie makers, and according to the British Film Institute, foreign studios contributed around 77% of the $1.8 billion, $1.4 billion pounds spent on making films in the country last year. Blah, 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 investment jobs, blah, blah, blah. Right. Come on, get to the juicy stuff. Right, what's this one here? The production companies usually have code names so that they don't raise attention when filing for permits to shoot off-site. The Disney subsidiary behind The Force Awakens is named Foodles Production, after the cafe next to the San Rafael, California headquarters of Kerner Optical, the original practical effects division of Lucasfilm's Industrial Light and Magic's VFX firm. A condition of receiving the cash reimbursement is that the companies must be responsible for everything from pre-production to delivery of the movie and paying for services relating to the finished film, which is one of the reasons why Foodles is still booking costs on its financial statements more than 8 years after The Force Awakens was released. Another reason is that the companies often file the financial statements around a year after the period they cover. This is why the latest results for Foodles were filed in December 2023 and are for the year ending December 31st, 2022. During that period, the company spent $3.5 million, £2.8 million, bringing the total budget of The Force Awakens to a massive $567.3 million, or £449.1 million. So what will they get? But we don't know how much of that was spent in the UK to get that 25.5% reimbursement. How much of that was spent in the UK? I don't know. Surprisingly, this isn't more than Disney expected as the financial blah, 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 blah. Right, cash reimbursement. Then comes the cash reimbursement, which was a whopping $92.2 million, or £73 million. So what's... So they must have spent... It can't be that much, can it? For 25%, they can't have spent 4 times, what, 4 sevens, nearly $300 million in the UK alone. Surely, I don't know. Maybe they did, I don't know. Bringing them up, because they only did the filming in the UK, didn't they? All the effects were Industrial Light and Magic in America somewhere, weren't they? They just did the filming and built the sets and stuff in the UK. But anyway, £73 million, bringing the movie's net costs down to $475.1 million. This is boring. Disney has received more than £325 million in reimbursement from the UK. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so let's get to the nitty-gritty. Right. He's talking about the other films she is. There's returns of how Disney made a $1.2 billion profit from the Star Wars movies. Force Awakens, Rogue One. What's these then? Disney's box office share, Disney's net spending, Disney's net profit loss. Right, so Force Awakens it made a profit there. That's the profit of 500 million. Rogue One, profit of 281 million. Last Jedi 340 odd. Solo, a loss, and Rise of Skywalker 89, which is debatable in itself, innit? Right, so keep going, because... right, here we go. The impact of this is revealed. Hang on, no, it's not that. They're talking about Solo there that lost money. Right, 90 million. At least. Right, here we go. Aside from this loss, the accolade for the lowest profit and return on investment multiple in Disney's Star Wars series goes to the Rise of Scott Palpatine. Close. Even though the financial statements revealed that its costs were below the production budget, its £89 million, $112 million bottom line brings the total net profits from Disney's 5 Star Wars movies to $1.2 billion, which is $2.8 billion short of the purchase price of Lucasfilm. And I was saying this ages ago. I was saying I don't think they've made the money back from buying Lucasfilm. I said this yonks ago. Anyway. Bearing this in mind, it's little surprise that Disney's presentation didn't work out the return on its acquisition. So they basically were lying during that presentation. Out the return on its acquisition of Lucasfilm by using the profits of the movies, as it's still got a long way to go just to break even. So they lied basically. They lied. And it says a weird thing here at the end. Are they talking about... Likewise, the calculation doesn't include the results of other Lucasfilm franchises. As we recently revealed, Disney lost $134.2 million at the box office on its latest Indiana Jones movie. And Lucasfilm's streaming series based on the 1988 fantasy film Willow was cancelled, despite the mouse pouring more than $100 million into it. Cancelled and removed, I think, from Disney+. And then behind he says, with several Star Wars movies in the pipeline, Disney still has a chance to get its money back through their box office profits. The films have rediscovered the magic formula, to appeal to fans, but aren't yet a force to be reckoned with for investors. What's she talking about? Is this when the films rediscovered the magic formula? I don't know, but anyway. The Sith won, yes, they did. When do you know Disney are lying? They say something. Exactly. They do a presentation. That's when you know that they're lying. So there we go. So Forbes is just saying, but it's interesting that it's coming from Forbes, isn't it? You know, a respected outlet that they're saying Disney lost money, which, you know, a lot of us have been saying for yonks, haven't we? We've been saying it for many years. But now it's getting out there, you know, to the normies. So there we go. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to something more interesting, hopefully. Spielberg. Bit of Spielberg news. Hot off the presses. I just added this a few minutes ago. Here we go. Director Steven Spielberg. This is from Slash Film. Raphael Montemayor. I don't know how you pronounce it. Apologies, Raphael. Director Steven Spielberg is quietly planning another movie about aliens. Cool. Steven Spielberg is one of the most influential and celebrated directors of all time. He helped define the blockbuster, establish the look and feel of 80s genre fare. Oh, pardon me, I'm burping. I've had some soup. And it's repeat that, and I think I spilled it down myself. So if there's stains on my t-shirt, it's chicken soup. Oh dear. Where were we? Steven Spielberg is one of the most influential and celebrated directors of all time. He helped define the blockbuster, established the look and feel of 80s genre fare, and gave us the best and possibly only well-shot, big-budget studio musical of the last decade. I presume it's on about West Side Story, which I've not seen, but I've heard is shit. And you've got to know Spanish to know what's going on because it doesn't have subtitles, apparently. I don't know, I've not seen it. But anyway. But despite getting his start in science fiction, sort of, I don't know, he did like an episode of Night Gallery, didn't he, on TV. Then he did Duel, which wasn't science fiction, which was a TV movie, but got a theatrical release in Europe. And then his proper main theatrical film was Sugarland Express, which I don't think was sci-fi. I've not seen it. And then Jaws. Then he had Jaws, also not sci-fi. And after Jaws, it was Close Encounters. That was his first science fiction film. So he didn't really get his start, did he? They know what they're talking about, anyway. But despite getting his start in science fiction, Spielberg has mostly distanced himself from the genre in the past decade or so. Yes, we are choosing to ignore the existence of Ready Player One. I don't think Spielberg had a great deal to do with that, to be completely honest. I think he just put his name on it, to be completely honest. I think other people made that film. Anyway, still, Spielberg has remained an ardent fan of the genre, praising recent gems such as Godzilla Minus One and proclaiming his fandom for Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 2. Perhaps this has rekindled a passion for sci-fi in 77-year-old Spielberg, seeing as he's now getting ready to return to one of his favourite subjects, aliens. According to Variety, Spielberg is likely going to make his next project a UFO film based on his own original idea. David Koepp is writing the screenplay according to the outlet's sources. Spielberg's work in movies about aliens is unparalleled between Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., the underrated Taken, which is really, really good. I've got it on DVD over there somewhere. One of the first miniseries on the Sci-Fi Channel, and War of the Worlds, which is not great. Good parts in it, but it's not great. He's made the case for being our best director when it comes to alien movies, and that's not counting when he returned to that topic in the fourth Indiana Jones movie. Can't blame him for that. Or even the many alien movies he never got to make. And there's a link there for that. What does it say? Spielberg projects we never saw but wish we could have. I'm not seeing that article. I'll have to have a look at that. I'm going to open that up and we'll have a look afterwards. Spielberg has been in love with outer space since his father showed him a Perseid meteor shower when he was 6 years old, and he's never let that go. He even based a scene in Close Encounters of the Third Kind on his dad waking him up in the middle of the night to go and see it. The scene like that in Close Encounters. Ready Player One is an underrated movie. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's fine, but I don't think Steven Spielberg had a huge amount to do with it. I thought there weren't aliens in Indy. Depends on, well, there weren't extra, well, I don't know. They were like from another dimension, weren't they? So that's still technically aliens, I suppose. Alien to our world, our dimension, whatever. I don't know. I don't think George Lucas knows either. Where were we? After going fully autobiographical in The Fabelmans, which I've not seen, the idea of Spielberg's next movie is more exciting than ever before. That he seems to be going back to space is already very intriguing. Add the fact that his new project is based on an original idea, and our anticipation is already through the roof. Whenever I see anticipation, I always think of Tim Curry in Rocky Horror. Anticipation. What really seals the deal is David Koepp's involvement. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. After all, is it just Cope or is it Koepp? I don't know. After all, Koepp worked with Spielberg on the masterpiece Jurassic Park and is a major reason why the next Jurassic World movie is so exciting. News about that coming up. Sure, Koepp also collaborated with Spielberg and George Lucas on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but let's focus on the positives here. Also, that movie is better than you remember. It's better than the new one, but it's not great. It's got its moments, as all films do, but it's not a good film. And it's a terrible Indiana Jones film. Interdimensional aliens from the future, weren't there? I don't bloody know. I can't remember. I mean, has anybody seen that film like more than twice, maybe? You know, we've all seen it like maybe once or twice, but that's enough in it for everybody. We can't really We don't really care about it. Although I'm sure it's somebody's favourite film somewhere. Spielberg's early science fiction movies were rather biographical, with the filmmaker infusing them with elements from his own childhood and relationship with his parents, seeing him return to the genre post The Fabelmans after having worked or not through that time, and those feelings makes it likely his return to earlier movies will be quite different, and that is worth looking forward to. But didn't they say it was going to be about UFOs or something? Yeah, next project, a UFO film based on his own original idea, which Close Encounters was. So is it going to be a sequel to Close Encounters? I mean, they can't have Richard Dreyfuss coming back unless they're going to digitally de-age him. Because they were in Close Encounters, all the people that the aliens abducted, the so-called goody aliens abducting people. They came back like 30 years later, some of them, didn't they? Like Flight 19. They hadn't aged, had they? Because of relativistic effects and stuff like that. So would, Roy Neary return in his new film? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. Or would it be a different sort of... Because his early films were all about aliens being nice, weren't they? Like Close Encounters and E.T., and the aliens were nice and non-belligerent. But then as he's got older and slightly more cynical, I suppose, the aliens in his films became more aggressive. That's why he did War of the Worlds and stuff like that, didn't he? And Taken. But Taken were a mixture of both, because I think some of the aliens were nice, but some of them, were a bit not nice. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I hope he does a good film. I'm sure Rebel Moon is someone's favourite movie somewhere. I'm sure it is. Well, Zack Snyder's probably. It's not mine, although it's fine. I don't see, don't see why you hate it so much, to be completely honest. But anyway, and he will call it Quicksilver Swifts. But yes, yes, I sent him my book many years ago, before Taken came out. God, if he does, I'll be cross. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's good. But we will see. Why ain't he writing it himself? I mean, he wrote Close Encounters, didn't he? Maybe he don't feel up to it. There was that other thing we were going to look at, weren't we? Thus, while we're on about Steven Spielberg, 11 Spielberg projects we never saw but wish we could have. Right, so I'm just going to scroll through. I'm not going to read it. A George Gershwin biopic. Whatever. The Old Boy remake. Well, that got remade, didn't it, with Josh Brolin. I've never seen it all the way through. I've seen the octopus eating scene, and that's about it. And I've not seen the Josh Brolin one. Indiana Jones and the Saucer Men from Mars. See, that might have been good, because, it says it all in the title, doesn't it? So I might have enjoyed that. That might have been cool. The story contains many of the same elements as the movie that was eventually made, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. They should have left it at that. But anyway, thank you for your service. Is that about... is it about... Yeah, might be about World War II. Oh no, it's from Iraq. Soldiers returning from Iraq. So that'll probably be heavy going, wouldn't it? A Martin Luther King Jr. biopic. Very good. Robopocalypse. Whatever. That might have been good. It would have been intriguing to see what direction Spielberg would have taken Robopocalypse. Scripted by Cabin in the Woods co-writer Drew Goddard. It's possible that Spielberg had a darker concept in mind. Probably because, as I said, he got older and more cynical. I think he started hating the world a bit. But, however, he returned to popcorn entertainment, the Ready Player One. Anyway, that might have been interesting. Curse of Monkey Island. I'm surprised that hasn't been made. Is that? Did somebody do a cartoon? Is that? That's not from the game, is it? That's not. No, it isn't. Is it? I don't know. Or is it just concept art? I don't know. So I'm surprised they haven't done a Monkey Island film. But anyway, so that'd be interesting. Night Skies. That was the name of his film he made as a kid, wasn't it? That would eventually become Close Encounters. It made a film as a kid called Night Skies, didn't it? So there we go. Oh, inspired by the 1955 Kelly Hopkinsville encounter. Visited by gremlin-like aliens. They were described as like goblins, weren't they? Like with big pointy ears and stuff. But that'd have been interesting. With Rick Baker doing the creatures. That'd have been good, wouldn't that? But anyway. Black Hawk, I don't know that one. DC Comics. Win Grayson know all about Black Hawk, I bet. I've never heard of it. World War II dogfighter pilots. George Lucas beat him to it, did he? With Red Tails, maybe. Don't know. Grapes of Wrath. Rob Liefeld's The Mark. Oh, pardon me. And that it. Right, so, mostly stuff I'm not interested in. Right, so we'll move on. Told you, Black Hawk is cool. They were in the Justice League cartoon. Excellent. Right. What's next? Oh, speaking of Jurassic World, as we were earlier on. Hang on, I forgot to full screen it. There we go. There, from the Hollywood Reporter, Aaron Couch. Hopefully not the casting couch, if you know what I mean. Jurassic World eyes Wicked star Jonathan Bailey for lead. The actor is in early talks to join Scarlett Johansson. Is it Johansson or Johansson? In the Universal film, and I presume that's him. Yes, it says there. Universal is looking to stay in business with Jonathan Bailey, one of the stars of its upcoming Wicked films. Why is there more than one? Bailey is in early talks for a leading role in the studio's new take on Jurassic World, the Hollywood Reporter has confirmed. Scarlett Johansson, I'm going to say Johansson, is already on the call sheet for the feature, which has Gareth Edwards, yay, directing. I like Gareth Edwards. And a script from Jurassic Park scribe David Cope, or Cope, however the hell you pronounce his name. Amblin Entertainment is partnering with Universal on the movie, which continues. Is she still connected with that, by the way? Kathleen Kennedy, is she still, part of Amblin Entertainment? Don't know. Does that mean she'll get a producer credit? Which continues the world created by novelist Michael Crichton and originally adapted for the big screen by Steven Spielberg in 1993's Jurassic Park. Steven. I'm on first name terms with him as my best mate. Spielberg returned to direct sequel The Lost World, 1997, with Joe Johnston stepping in for Jurassic Park 3, 2001, which is a good film. I don't know why people rant about it. Although it had no ending, did it? So which is why the ending seems really rushed, apparently. But anyway. Was there a writer's strike or something? They didn't have an ending for the film, so the film just ends with the Marines arriving. Anyway, in 2015, Colin Trevorrow revamped the franchise with Jurassic World, which starred Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard in their high heels, and explored a park full of dinosaurs that was now open to the public. Pratt and Howard starred in 2 more features, with 2022's Dominion uniting stars of both Jurassic Park, such as Sam Neill, Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum, and Jurassic World. And I didn't mind it. I thought it was fine. The new take is expected to follow new characters. Bailey plays Prince Fiero in Wicked and appeared at CinemaCon last week during Universal's presentation. The actor is also known for the Showtime limited series Fellow Travellers, which earned him a Critics' Choice Award. He's repped by CAA, Anonymous Content and Henson Jacobson. So there we go. So that's another person connected with the new Jurassic World film. Do we know? Have we any idea what it's going to be called yet? Has that not been announced? Is it going to be Jurassic World, whatever? Or is it going to be something new? Is it going to be Jurassic Universe or something else? I don't know. But anyway, so we've got ScarJo and Jonathan Bailey. I don't know him. I've got to admit, I don't know him. So I can't get excited for his casting. Right, let's move on. Hang on. I don't know who he is, but he looks like a child star who grew up and slapped on a beard. Hang on, go with that. Yeah, I suppose. He looks young, doesn't he? It does to me. Everybody looks young to me. I'm at that age now where everybody looks young, and it's depressing. I watch like YouTube videos from like channels like Hack the Movies and stuff like that, and they start going on about, you know, old films that they saw as kids, like Jurassic Park, for instance. And I was thinking, I was married, I had a kid of my own when Jurassic Park came out. And they was like, I was at, I just started, you know, what they call it, primary school or whatever. You know, I was 5 years old when it first came out, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake. It's depressing. But anyway, let's move on. Oh, we'll be here all night listening to me going on about how old I am. Oh, aye. This one's just for Sci-Fi Quest, is this story. Zack Snyder doesn't get the overreaction to his weirdo films. By the way, I've not read this article. I've not read any of these articles, so I don't know if they're going to be any good. Right, this is from, well, I don't even know where it's from. Is it the Metro? Yes, from the Metro. Torry Brazier. The reactions to my movies tend to be these big overreactions. Zack Snyder begins carefully when asked if it ever gets tiring defending his movies in interviews from the polarising reception they often receive. The 58-year-old filmmaker, God, he's older than me, so I don't feel old for once, is chatting to me in a fancy London hotel ahead of the premiere on Netflix of the latest instalment of his sci-fi space opera franchise, Rebel Moon, Sci-Fi Quest's favourite film. It's this point of our chat where the director is most obviously choosing his words with caution as an otherwise very open and responsive interviewee, a journalist dream, who warmly greeted me by promising he'd been saving all his best answers for our allotted time. I bet he said that to all of the people that he'd met that day. He'd probably done like 20 interviews. We've never met before, but he's on top friendly form. The second part, titled The Scargiver, follows hot on the heels of the first Rebel Moon, 7 out of 10, which debuted in cinemas a week before heading to the streaming service in December. It's part of a lucrative first-look deal Snyder cut with the platform in 2021, with Rebel Moon Part 1, Child of Fire, reportedly boasting a $150 million, £120.7 million budget. However, the film did not fare well with critics, except for Sci-Fi Quest, who loves the film to death. I'm kidding, he hates it. Although plenty of his loyal fans were delighted with both its overload of action and Snyder's trademark visual style and flair being present and correct. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. You know, I didn't think it was the best thing ever. I just thought it was fine. But anyway, but I like Sofia Boutella, even though she doesn't look her best in this film, in my opinion. But you know, as an action star, she's good. And there's Zack Snyder. It's not the first time his films, everything from Watchmen, which personally I think is a masterpiece, Justice League, and Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. Again, the what they call it, the extended version, I forgot what it's called, Ultimate Cut or whatever it's called. Again, I think that's a masterpiece. Apart from, I can never bloody remember his name. Him that plays Lex Luthor. Apart from him, he brings the whole film down. If it weren't for him, it genuinely would be, in my opinion, a masterpiece. But it didn't. To Sucker Punch, which, you know, have faced backlash. We were talking about, even just with Rebel Moon Part 1, I'm like, it's not that controversial of a movie, he adds of the criticism that filmed column inches and social media forums last year. Yes, it's just a film, and it's all said and done, isn't it? A lot of people have this crazy reaction to it, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get that reaction. So yeah, I just think that in the zeitgeist, I've just found this weirdo spot, you know? And it is what it is. I'm not mad about it, but it just is what it is. It just causes this conversation that is like, he trails off. So he went, it is like that. Self-perpetuating, I suggest? It really is, he agrees. However, he's very grateful for his passionate fan base laughing. I thank God for my fans because they go get out there and take care of business if they have to. Just like Sci-Fi Quest is one of Zack Snyder's many fans who sticks up for him 24/7. For Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, the audience jumps right back into the action following Cora's, Sophia Boutella, supposed slaying of villain Admiral Noble, a scenery-chewing edge screen, was it Scrine? Dunno, at the climax of the first film. She and her motley crew, proofreading, thing of the past, motley crew of allies, including Michelle, I think that's spelt wrong as well, the people who were in the film with her, returned to her adopted home of Velt to celebrate. But of course, we're only really just gearing up to the big centrepiece fight now. This is the element that Snyder identifies being proudest of in the sequel, balancing the complicated dance of intertwining elements in the climactic battle. With an abundance of spaceships, droids, laser blasters. Can they call them droids? Is that term droid like a Lucasfilm, a George Lucas? Has anybody called androids or robots droids before Star Wars? I'd not seen it before. They were like robots or androids, wasn't it? Or what the drones, as in Silent Running, they were called drones in that one. But anyway, laser blasters, bounty hunters, and yes, in this one, even lightsabers. They're not what they're called, plasma swords or something like that, do they? The Star Wars comparisons have come in thick and fast. This is, after all, how Rebel Moon started its life as a pitch to Lucasfilm over a decade ago. Snyder reckons it's a struggle to get away from Star Wars in the genre anyway, though. You can't have spaceships landing and guys coming out and firing guns without you thinking, oh, it's like Star Wars. And there's some pictures. Is that from Rebel Moon? It must be. I don't know. That's from Rebel Moon. Looks very Rogue One, that, doesn't it? Anyway, and that's not from Rebel Moon. Synthezoid in Marvel Comics. Right, cool. Synthezoid. I imagine using that in Alien, or the Bishop saying, "I prefer the term synthezoid myself." Anyway. They've cut such a wide swath through sort of all sci-fi. Now with the TV shows and all the amount of movies they have, they've gobbled up so much iconography that it's really difficult to not have that comparison, he argues. But for him, he's confident his upcoming director's cuts of the 2 Rebel Moon movies, scheduled for the summer, will help. The difference becomes a lot starker because of how adult those are, he shares, of the upcoming R-rated versions, where Snyder's vision most comfortably fits, and where his intention for Rebel Moon originally was. But surely, when he went to Lucasfilm, saying, I've got this idea of this Star Wars film, did he say, it's going to be an R-rated Star Wars film with tits and fannies and everything in? I don't know, but... I don't know if that's going to be in this, but we'll see. The director's cuts are the movie I wrote, he says, claiming they draw a very insane comparison as a grown-up version. An interesting facet of the tamed-down PG-13 versions of Rebel Moon, 12A for us in the UK, although the first was still classified a 15. Something which Snyder initially labels a problem before backtracking is it's really earnest. Jim Varney, that earnest. Lucas is credited with creating Droid, but it was used once before in Robots of the World Arise in 1952. Oh, there we go. So, that sounds like an Asimov. So, I don't know if it is or not, but it does sound like an Asimov story, doesn't it? But anyway. I've got a good Harry Harrison book called War with the Robots. It's like a collection of short stories by Harry Harrison, but I don't think they ever mentioned droids in that either. I think that would be before Star Wars, but anyway. I forgot what I want now. It becomes really serious, and that's fun for the trauma because it makes everything really real. So I think in the R-rated versions you're going to see it's much more. The tropes become more self-aware, and it's a little bit more fun, even though it's way more violent and insane, you know what I mean? So far, so classic Snyder. Marie Wolf, actually. Oh, okay. It just sounds like an Asimov story, doesn't it? It's over the top, so you'll get to go, oh, I see, a little bit more, he adds. And she's still alive at 96. Cool. Bless Marie Wolf. Snyder has really made director's cuts popular as a filmmaker. I think probably the one director that made director's cuts popular is Ridley Scott, to be completely honest. But anyway. Thanks to his well-received retake on Justice League in 2021 after he left the original project to be with his family, alongside his producer wife Deborah Snyder, following his daughter Autumn's tragic death in 2017. This time he's built the director's cuts into his contract, making a giant space movie. The economics say you can't really have an R-rated version because we need the biggest audience to see the movie, and this allows me to sit down and write a crazy movie that has no business existing. What I've heard is apparently with the director's cuts that are coming out, they're going to be essentially totally different films, apparently, using different takes and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're like. Did he make director's cuts cool or just find a scam to get free money? I don't know. Going about Zack Snyder. Probably a bit of both. I forgot what I want now. He praises the streamer's approach to his Rebel Mooniverse. Is that what they're calling it? Netflix in their wisdom was like, well, we have a way to make that movie exist, the crazy version, and the way you do it is that you give us something we can sell that is consistent with your vision, but that broadens the audience. Maybe 2 hours would be cool, maybe PG-13 would be cool. What do you think? How does this article go on for? Bloody hell. I think it's nearly done. And I go, if I do that, then I go over here, just whatever I want. Yes, okay, good. It's a good deal. I mean, for me it is, he says. Not every fan or film goer, Sci-Fi Quest, is keen about Snyder's pre-planned 2 bites of the cherry, though. Will we still be fussed in a few months' time? Nothing is confirmed yet, but Snyder has suggested an August release, approximately 6 hours runtime between the 2 new cuts. But for Snyder, the opportunity to have complete creative freedom over these versions and have them in the same pipeline was an offer too tempting to turn down. Even if he can't get the officially confirmed performance numbers to bolster his claims of outstripping 2023's box office behemoth Barbie in terms of eyes on the film. I think he said more people saw Rebel Moon than saw Barbie because it were on Netflix and that. As he suggested on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast in March. The thing about Netflix that's amazing is when I realise the director's cuts, it's in the same pipeline as this. There's no difference. Whereas if I had done this as a theatrical film and then wanted the director's cuts to exist, I don't think I would have gotten a theatrical release at the same level. It just doesn't make sense, especially if the movie had already been out. But I think in this case, it'll be a much more interesting experiment because everyone will have access to them. Well, I saw Rebel Moon and not Barbie, so maybe, lol, yes. And I think even Sci-Fi Quest probably saw Rebel Moon and not Barbie. So there. On the topic of more Rebel Moon, the Dawn of the Dead director has already shared that the third part is possible and even partially written, should the viewing figures support, although today he seems to be hinting that we should prepare for Rebel Moon Part 4 as well, and maybe even beyond. He also said, is Dawn, what is it, Army of the Dead films and all that. They're in the Rebel Moon universe as well, apparently. Oh, God, I haven't done it. How far have we got to go? Right, them. Right, 2 more bits and then we're done. Nothing is confirmed yet, however, with Snyder simply saying that once, that one word, that once, or is it Thatonki? Proofreading thing of the past. That once they have a complete picture of how the franchise has performed with fans, we are absolutely prepared to make more of these movies. I couldn't watch Barbie because I don't have any pink clothes. Take your word for that, mate. You're a fella. All fellas have got pink clothes. We've all done washing wrong and stuff's come out. Pink. From a story standpoint, there's plenty more to do, he continues, before revealing. We were talking about if you made another Rebel Moon movie, would the audience be like, well, don't we get 2? Because I think it seems like we always should get 2 of these movies. What's he talking about? Whenever you make a movie, it should be 2, because otherwise, we're going to make 1? What's he on about? You're going back to 1? That's weird. That's weird what you just said. So these are the kinds of things we're talking about. What's he on about? Regardless of how many Rebel Moon movies we end up with, Snyder and his co-writers Kurt Johnstad and Shay Hatton have already discussed an endpoint. We have a huge outline that takes us all the way to a battle, maybe at Moa, one of the planets that makes up the Mother World at the end. It feels churlish to speak with Snyder and not mention his wife and producing partner, Deborah, 55, who has produced all of his films since 300, and after co-founding Cruel and Unusual Films, since renamed The Stone Quarry, together in 2004, alongside their producing partner, Wesley Collar. Their partnership is reminiscent of that husband and wife team, Christopher Nolan and Emma Thomas, another director-producer duo who were recently garlanded with Oscars for Oppenheimer. I didn't even know that. I was thinking of James Cameron and Galen Hurd and that sort of stuff, but anyway. And with whom the Snyders worked on 2013's Man of Steel. What is the greatest plus and negative of having consistently teamed up with both personally and professionally over the past 20 years? The biggest positive, of course, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about his bloody wife and all that stuff. We should really take some time away from the business, he chuckles. Yeah, go on, bugger off. Get your films out and have a rest. But do another Army of the Dead. I liked Army of the Dead. I don't know why people don't like it. I thought it was fine. You need a proofreading merch option. I ain't got the patience. I used to be a proofreader. Not a very good one, but I used to be one. I could not watch Barbie because I have man parts. I've not seen it. It's been on the TV here because I've got Sky Movies. It's part of my package. Can't avoid it. And it's been on there, as well as Oppenheimer. They've been showing Barbie and then Oppenheimer. I've not watched either of them yet. Anyway, Rebel Moon Part 2 Skygiver is out on April 19th. I don't even know what date. Is that this week? What date are we on now? I don't even know what date it is today. What is it? It's the 17th. Oh, right. So Friday. It's out on Friday. Oh, so I'll watch that on Friday. I'm quite looking forward to that sci-fi quest. And you're looking forward to it as well because you're going to tear it a new a-hole, aren't you? He said as much. Anyway, so there we go. He doesn't get overreaction to his weirdo films. He's kind of a Marmite director, isn't he? You either love him or you hate him. And I really like Zack Snyder's films. So what can I say? It's out on Friday and zero hype. Yes, I didn't really know. I knew it was coming out sometime soon, but I didn't exactly know when. That doesn't bode well. No, not really. Want to pair up for a watch-along to Part 2? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably watch it, first thing on Friday morning. I'll probably actually watch it in bed. I'll probably wake up Friday morning and think, I'll watch Rebel Moon in bed before I get up. I'll have Ada shouting at me, Dad, I want my breakfast. Shut up, I'm watching Rebel Moon. Anyway. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not saying no, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's me hat fit. I washed my hat today, me cap, and I'm sure I've shrunk it. I just threw it in the washer with all the other clothes, and I'm sure I've done something wrong. Anyway. Me cap, should I say. Right. So anyway, let us know when you want to do a watch along for part 2, and we'll do it. Where's my F11? It's there. How long is it? 7 hours. It might feel like that for Sci-Fi Quest. I think the time will zip by. Oh, I forgot to remove that, didn't I? I think the time will zip by. Anyway, next up. But I think it'll be good. I honestly think it'll be good because, I like Zack Snyder films, and, I don't expect much from them. It's probably why I like them. My expectations aren't high. Apart from the fact I expect to be entertained. So, but I'm not expecting, like a super complex story or anything like that. Which is probably why I like Rebel Moon Part 1. I thought, it were okay. And it was Star Warsy without being Star Warsy, if you know what I mean. But anyway. Right, next up. Here we go. Hollywood Reporter again, Ryan Gajewski. Original Blair Witch team reacts to not being involved in new movie. It's bittersweet. Why would they be? Why would they be involved? I don't know, but anyway. After Lionsgate and Blumhouse announced a reboot of the 1999 horror sensation, you'll not be able to recapture the magic. Hang on. Before we start. Hang on, I'll get rid of that. I know I tell you, I do go too quickly from subject to subject, and I don't give the chat time to catch up, do I? Anyway, Wingrace says, I really like his films. I just feel like the ones he makes completely on his own have no soul and only style. It could be argued. That could be argued. Like I said, because I don't expect, a huge amount from his film. Like Army of the Dead, it were kind of, it was tosh. It was tosh, wasn't it? But it was enjoyable tosh, which is like what Rebel Moon is in a way. It's fireworks on TV, innit? That's what it is. It's like, ooh, pretty pictures. So I don't expect much. Anyway, so there we go. So yes, I agree with you. Anyway, right. Get this back up. Right, original Blair Witch team. I'll start again. Original Blair Witch team reacts to not being involved in new movie It's Bittersweet. After Lionsgate and Blumhouse announced a reboot of the 1999 horror sensation, the original film's production designer Ben Rock tells the Hollywood Reporter they haven't. I didn't know the original had a production designer. They haven't talked to any of us. What did the production designer do in the original one? I thought it was just the directors that just went around making little stick figures and hanging them in trees, and that was it. And they just give them cameras and sound equipment and just shoved them out into the woods and left acting directions like pinned to trees and stuff, didn't they? I thought that's what happened in the original. But anyway, there she is. I forgot what her name now. She's in Taken, by the way, this actress, and whose name I can't remember. But anyway, that's a famous tears and snot scene. Anyway, and now I have Bittersweet Symphony stuck in my head. Thanks, Blair Witch team. Oh, my, Bittersweet, yes. It's a bittersweet symphony. I don't know the words. Wasn't the original a university student movie? I don't think it was. I think it was just like a super cheap indie film on it. I don't think there were students. But I could be wrong. Anyway. Right, the team behind the original 1999 film, The Blair Witch Project, didn't know about the plan for a new movie in the horror franchise until it was announced during Lionsgate's CinemaCon presentation last week. But the filmmakers' frustrations over their lack of involvement in the future of the series has been building for years. Steve wants a Blair Vivitch movie. Aidan would. He'd want one with Anya Taylor-Joy in it. Yes, he'd like that. It's bittersweet, Wingrace, honestly. Do, 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 do. I don't even know who sings that. Is it the verve in it? There's the verve in it. Ben Rock, production designer on the 1999 found footage hit, tells the Hollywood Reporter about the planned reboot. He notes that no one from his film, including co-directors Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, was involved in any significant way in the 2000 sequel, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2, which I liked. People hate that film, and I think it was a good film. I enjoyed it. All the S-River stuff and all that. Oh, it was cool. Or the 2016 follow-up, which wasn't very good, to be honest. Anyway, Rock hopes this will change, but I didn't hate it. I just didn't think it was as good as the others. Rock hopes this will change for the current project that is in the works from Lionsgate and Blumhouse, but so far no one from the 1999 movie had been contacted or given a chance to pitch, he says. They probably thought everybody moved on and wouldn't be interested, you'd think, wouldn't you? But anyway. I'm doing a watch-along for part 1 tomorrow night, by the way. Rebel Moon? Oh, right. Cool. Cool. I will tune in and watch along with... where were we now? I do think that what has happened... Back to Blair Vivitch. I do think that what has happened twice now was that the original creators were overlooked and other people were brought in, all of whom were good, says Rock, referring to Joe Berlinger's 2000 sequel, again, which I really liked, and Adam Wingard's 2016 follow-up, Blair Witch, which I didn't really like. I didn't hate it, I just didn't think it was as good as the others. It was okay. But neither one of the sequels connected with the audiences the way they wanted it to connect, and so it might at least be worth talking to some of the original creators. Yes, got a good point there, I suppose. If you want to recapture that magic, talk to the people that created the original magic. That's what you'd want, wouldn't you? Rock was among the members of the original movies team to share reactions on social media to the news about the latest project. Among those chiming in was Mike Manello, a co-producer on the first movie who helped conceive the website, claiming the movie's horrors were real and that the people appearing in it had gone missing, because it was the first viral marketing campaign, wasn't it? Maybe not the first, but one of the first big viral marketing campaigns, wasn't it? That's the website, and there were the documentaries. There was that Curse of the Blair Witch, which came on the DVD, didn't it? There was another one as well called the, I forgot, the Something 7 or something like, I forgot, the Burkittsville 7, which were about Rustin Parr and all that, which I had it was on TV once, and I recorded it, and I've got it on a tape somewhere, and I can't find it. Maybe it's on YouTube, I don't know. It would make sense to talk to the original creators. It would, wouldn't it? But it's Hollywood, isn't it? They often do things that don't make sense. Anyway. Where were we? Radical idea, you could try putting this project in the hands of the original team that made the first one, Manello posted, tagging Jason Blum, along with Lionsgate and Blumhouse. You know, the team that actually has an entire franchise plan to reinvent what a Blair Witch movie could be. Oh, that'd be interesting. But they probably won't now, just to spite them, you know. Anyway, I remember the mystique behind it when I was just a wee child. See, what I was talking about earlier. These blooming young'uns. When I was a wee child, 1999. Aidan were a wee child in 19. He was 7 in 1999. And there's a scene from Blair Witch Project. The sound guy, Michael, and the cameraman, Joshua. I think Joshua got his teeth ripped out, didn't he? Or was it the other one? I can't remember which way around it was. Additionally, Joshua Leonard, one of the film's 3 leads, alongside Heather Donahue, that's her, and Michael C. Williams, posted on Instagram regarding his own frustrations. I like Heather Donahue. As I said, she was in Taken. She's also in another found footage series that I can't remember what it was called, but it was produced by Oren Peli, who did Paranormal Activity, and it was about them going, like a found footage series, going into the Amazon or somewhere on a boat. I can't remember what it was called, and it was really good. I think it was cancelled. It ended on a cliffhanger, and the series got cancelled. Anyway, he learned about the planned new movie from a friend who sent a screenshot of a media report that used a still of Leonard as the main image. I'm so proud of our little punk rock movie, and I love the fans who keep the flames burning, Leonard wrote. But at this point, it's 25 years of disrespect from the folks who've pocketed the lion's share, pun intended, of the profits from our work, and that feels both icky and classless. I mean, that's originally it was, I forgot the name, Haxon or something like that did the original ripping off, or Artisan, like it says down there. I can't remember. The Blair Witch Project was made for a paltry $35,000 before marketing costs and was an instant sensation when it debuted at the Sundance Film Festival in January 1999. Artisan Entertainment bought the movie and released it theatrically that June. It became a summer phenomenon, en route to landing as one of the year's 10 highest-grossing titles. Excuse me. Not to mention one of the most profitable films ever made. Yes. And Daniel, I forgot the names now, Eduardo Sanchez and Daniel Myrick would go on to do other good films as well, such as Lovely Molly, which we did on Friday Night Appointment with Fear a while back, and a film called The Objective, which is really good. It's kind of a UFO film, but also weird and stuff like that, about people in Afghanistan, some like soldiers or mercenaries or something, going to Afghanistan. It's CIA, they're like CIA operatives, and they're going in looking for somebody. But there's also reports of Vimanas, so like UFOs and stuff, and weird stuff happens, and it's a cool film. Anyway, Rock met its directors in college and recalls earning $300 a week for his work on the Blair Witch Project, although he was also given back-end points. Rock, who worked... I don't understand... I'm not a Hollywood person. I don't understand this points thing, but anyway. Rock, who worked on creating the film's mythology and wrote a special promoting the movie for the cable TV network, Sci-Fi. In addition to his production design duties, has nothing but fond memories. So I wonder if that was that Curse of the Blair Witch, or I wonder if it was the Burkittsville 7 one. I don't know. And there's nothing but fond memories from his experience with it. Later, Artisan hired him to consult on the franchise in the lead up to the 2000 film, which was released just over a year after the first one hit theatres, but he didn't work on the sequel itself. But he did consult, at least they did approach him, didn't they? Anyway, Sanchez, who are we talking about, by the way? Rock. Sanchez, Eduardo Sanchez, who has recently worked as a television director on such projects as Yellow Jackets and Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Yes, I forgot about that. I forgot he directed an episode of that. And Myrick, who helmed the forthcoming documentary 777, have nominal executive producer credits on both sequels, so they'll get a tidy sum from it. I understand that you can be too close to something and maybe an outside perspective is helpful, but in aggregate it didn't work, Rock says of Book of Shadows, which I liked. They didn't make the hit that they wanted to make, but there was studio interference as well. Joe Berlinger wanted to do stuff a certain way, but the studio kept interfering. Anyway, The Suits. They didn't make the hit that they wanted to make. He emphasises that he has a lot of respect for Blumhouse and adds, I'm hoping Blumhouse isn't like, hey, let's go reboot this without talking to anybody from the first one, but they haven't talked to any of us. The Hollywood Reporter has reached out to Lionsgate and Blumhouse for comment. I presume they haven't responded. Rock recalls that back in the 2000s, Myrick and Sanchez had been hoping to work on a period piece set in the 1700s as a follow-up to their film before the development process ultimately petered out. So presumably about, I've forgotten the name now, The Blair Witch. What was the name now? Because all this stuff about Coffin Rock and all that, want there and stuff. Can't remember. Rock isn't sure that another... I never say that, I was thinking of Dwayne Johnson. Rock isn't sure that another modern-day shaky footage film would be the best way to move the franchise forward, which is why he thinks his film's creative team would be best suited for understanding what made it work. I mean, the thing about the 2016 one, I think it's Adam Wingard that directed that. I think he forgot he were doing a found footage film sometimes. Which a lot of directors of found footage films tend to do. They forget that they're doing a found footage film. They're supposed to have limited camera angles and stuff. But anyway. Blair Witch Origins. Yeah, it'd be something like that, wouldn't it? I wish I could remember the name of the witch. No, never mind. Which is why he thinks the film's creative team would be best suited for understanding what made it work. I don't know how you outdo what we did, he says, but I care about the franchise, so whoever does it, I hope they handle it with care. Yes, I hope they do. But I say it's Blumhouse, so they've got a good track record as Blumhouse, so hopefully it'll be okay. But we will see. Have they ever done a found footage film in old-timey golden age Hollywood style? As though it'd be like filmed, with an old hand-cranked camera. King Kong were kind of like that, I suppose, maybe. I don't know. Maybe somebody's done it. Maybe somebody has. I mean, there's that film. It's not found footage, but it's kind of a weird... I forgot what they call it now, so it doesn't matter. Never mind. But anyway, right, so... We'll see what happens, won't we? I don't know why they want to do a reboot of it, though. Why start it again? Why not just continue the legend, build on it, like the 2016 one did? That were about the brother of Heather Donahue going, out into the woods to find her. 30 years, 25 years later, whatever. But anyway, I don't know. Just add to it. Add to the legend and the mystique, as Winggrace put it. But we will see. Right, let's move on. I like my found footage films. I think they're good. I'm a fan of found footage. If it's well made and they don't forget that they're doing a found footage film. There was that film on the Pyramid with I can't remember who were in it. One of them that were in the In-Betweeners. I can't remember his name. Bushwankers, Bushwankers, that fella. He were in the Pyramid, and that started out as a found footage film, and then it was like halfway through. Cloverfield is one of my favourite found footage films. It's amazing, is that? But the Pyramid, it started out as a found footage film, and it was like they thought, we can't be bothered doing it as found footage anymore. We'll just do it as a normal film, which ruined it for me. Do the thing all horror does now, a sequel to the first one, whilst ignoring the rest. Yeah, they do that as well, don't they? Halloween, for instance. Yeah. James Buckley. Who the hell's James Buckley? Oh, him from, is that his name? Him from The In-Betweeners. I don't know. I actually liked him in Zapped too. I've not seen that, so I don't know. I think I've only seen him in The In-Betweeners and the Pyramid film. That's all I've seen him in. Right. What's next? Disney Plus next. Here we go. Right. This is from T3. Who wrote this? Does it say? Rick Henderson, R.I.K. Disney Plus set for its biggest shake-up in years, reportedly planning a massive rethink on how to deliver Star Wars and Marvel shows. Disney, can you read that? A bit small. He's steady. There we go. Better, isn't it? Disney reportedly has plans to shake up its Disney Plus streaming platform in a drive to retain viewers, because it's been hemorrhaging viewers, hasn't it? Hang on. There was a Cloverfield-style found footage film called Monster, came out same time as Cloverfield. I think I've seen it, but I can't remember what happened in it. I'm sure I've got it and I've seen it, but I can't remember. But it probably made on a fraction of the budget of Cloverfield. And I love Cloverfield. It's one of my favourite, maybe is my favourite found footage film. It shows if you throw $30 million at a talented filmmaker, pardon me, Matthew, what's his face, he can make a good found footage film. That was an Asylum movie, there you go. Sometimes the Asylum can make good found footage films, though. But technically, I don't think they make them. I think that the Asylum often buy films, don't they? They distribute them, and it's like indie studios that make them, and the Asylum buys them sometimes. But they did good rip-offs of Paranormal Activity. They did the Paranormal Entity series, and some of those were pretty good. But anyway, back to Disney Plus. Disney has reportedly has plans to shake up its Disney Plus streaming platform in a drive to retain viewers. It is claimed that the popular streaming service will soon add linear channels to its lineup. That seems to be getting a popular thing now, doesn't it? It's like returning to vinyl, isn't it? We've been spoiled by all this streaming, and now they're going back to linear TV. Anyway, channels to its lineup that are designed to keep subscribers watching for longer periods. These channels could be based. I think they won't, though, because I think people put linear channels on now as background stuff, so that while they're doing other things. But anyway, these channels could be based on Star Wars and Marvel, for example, with scheduled broadcasts available alongside on-demand content. The information writes that this could boost ad revenue for the service, as rivals also explore the use of fast, free ad-supported streaming channels as an alternative experience. I was going to say Amazon have been thinking of doing that. The big difference here, though, is that others generally offer commercialised live channels for free, such as Pluto TV, the Roku channel, and Amazon's Freevee. Excuse me. It seems that the Disney Plus channels will be included within existing payment tiers rather than as a separate free option. It's Disney, they're bloody greedy, aren't they? I mean, Pluto is about 90% of what I watch. The information also reports that the timing for the new format is not clear. However, Disney does have a track record with fast channels. It launched similar services within its abc.com app, including one dedicated to General Hospital. Disney is currently looking at a number of ways to improve and adapt its Disney Plus service. It is likely to introduce an additional payment for password sharing privileges in the coming weeks or months. That will mean that families who share the same account across different households or locations will have to pay extra to continue. It's also, I don't know. But what happens if you're a subscriber to Netflix, but you travel a lot, or maybe you're a travelling salesman or something, and you want to watch Netflix in your hotel room on your iPad or whatever. Well, you can't, can you? Anyway. No, not Netflix, Disney Plus, whatever. It's also introduced its own ad-supported tier in November last year. It started showing ads on my Amazon Prime the other day. First time, it must have renewed, and just suddenly we're watching, what were we watching? Oh, it was Fallout. I was watching Fallout, and I'd watched a couple of episodes with no ads, and then suddenly I was watching an episode, and ads were appearing in the middle of it. So I had to go to the... Because I'm not paying and bloody what, so I paid for the option not to get ads. $2.99 a month to not have ads. Unbelievable. Anyway. From the bark, you dummy. Yeah. We're on Pluto. How do you know? It's because of the bark. When you log into Netflix out of the house at a new place, it asks you if you want this to be the primary IP for the time being. Does it? Oh, right, okay. That's why I've never bothered, because I never go anywhere. All right. What if you want to watch Disney in your PJs? If you're at home, you're fine, aren't you? Anyway. Where were we? I forgot where I was now. It also introduced its own ad-supported tier in November last year, as well as split subscription options into 3 tiers, raising the price of its premium service in the process. Disney Plus is currently available in 3 tiers, standard with ads, priced at €4.99, €5.99 per month. This must be a British website. Standard at $7.99 per month, and premium for $10.99 per month. I honestly don't know what I get. I think I get the premium, but I don't know. I just signed when Disney Plus first started because I wanted to watch The Mandalorian. I just signed up for it. There were no options then, so I think it just like automatically bumps it up to the maximum one. I don't know. And I think you pay for it yearly. I think with Amazon and with Disney Plus, you pay for it. Well, I do. I think I do. Anyway, you pay for it annually. So like they take out loads of money once a year. But with Netflix, it's monthly, isn't it? Anyway, the standard plans stream content at a maximum of 1080p with 5.1 audio, while premium subscribers get 4K. Yes, so I'm a premium subscriber because I can get 4K. Those in the US have a slightly different system with a basic plan priced at $7.99 a month for ad streaming services. However, it streams at 4K HDR. See, we're getting ripped off in Britain again. Oh, that it? All right, fair enough. Fair enough. So they're going to be adding linear channels. So there'll just be stuff playing from Star Wars or Marvel or whatever, just all day. And if you just turn it on, it'll be there with ads and. But, whatever. But like I said, things like Pluto and stuff do that, don't they? And I think Freevee on Amazon started doing it. It didn't used to. It used to be something else, didn't it? There's like a free version of Amazon Prime, but with ads. But I think now it does linear stream. You just go onto it and it's just playing something, isn't it? I think. Anyway. That still screws you over if you leave family at home. They're thrilled. Sorry, I forgot. You guys don't like Farscape. Lol. I bet Sci-Fi Quest does, but I could never get into it. Well, they count as views even if no one watches it while it's on. Yes, exactly. Freevee used to be Yes, it did. IMDb TV. Yes, it did. Yes, I remember that being on Amazon. Right, anyway. Like I say, it seems like a step back to me, but, it's up to them, innit? It's up to them. They must have done surveys to see what it is. Josh Tim, I'm a big Farscape fan. I could never get into it. I've tried. I don't know why. It just doesn't appeal to me. I've tried watching it. And I just can't get into it. I think it's the Muppets that put me off. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. But as I was saying, it's like a step back in it, showing like linear TV online, through an app. But anyway. I put it in the pantheon of great sci-fi TV shows, Farscape. Yeah. Like I say, I could never get into it. Right, where were we? Sorry. Dear. Another one. Right. Here we go. From giant freaking robot Charlene Badacy. Hugh Jackman's best sci-fi movie finally getting a sequel. Which movie could that be? I ask. I know, because I scrolled down and saw that and thought, it must be that one. Hugh Jackman is teaming up with Ryan Reynolds and director Sean Levy excuse me, for Deadpool and Wolverine. But this isn't the first time the actor has worked with the filmmaker. Their previous project was the 2011 sci-fi sports film Real Steel, which I really liked. No, it's not Van Helsing. Van Helsing. I guess that's more fantasy. Yes, well, horror, innit? Supposedly, it's supposed to be like universal horror, innit? Speaking at CinemaCon 2024, Levy said he hasn't stopped thinking or talking about Real Steel 2. I had this idea. If you haven't seen Real Steel, it's a cool film about robots boxing. It's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, but with big robots. And I really liked it. I thought it was a great film. And, a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I had an idea for a sequel and calling it, instead of Real Steel, calling it Steel Wheels. And it was about, robot motor car racing sort of thing. But a bit like Cars. Pixar's Cars, but in live action. Anyway. Real Steel is just a remake of the Twilight Zone episode. Oh, I've not seen it, so I don't know. I've not seen all the Twilight Zones. I think I've got them on my computer somewhere. No, legally acquired. But I've not got around to watching them all. I've seen all of Outer Limits, but I've not seen all of Twilight Zone. Real Steel was great. Yes, it was a lot of fun. I liked Real Steel. Anyway, we always talk about Real Steel 2, Levy told those in attendance, because the world won't let us forget, and I'm glad for that. While Levy's words fell short of a definitive yes, there is a chance that Hugh Jackman could reprise his role as former boxer Charlie Kenton in Real Steel 2. The original movie has become quite popular in recent years due to its heartwarming underdog story. Yes, it's cool. A Real Steel series entered development in 2022 for Disney+. It'd be a woman. He won't be in it. But a chicken and make a layman gay. However, updates about the progress of the project have been scarce since then. Levy, who serves as producer, previously stated that the series needed to find a showrunner and put together a writer's room. While the 2023 Hollywood strikes could be cited as a reason for the pause, no official word has been given. Pluto is doing a 27-hour marathon of the Twilight Zone coming up this month. Might not be for us, though. I don't know. We'll see. I think our Pluto's different to yours. I think you get Stargate on yours over there. We don't get it on ours over here. Anyway. Released in 2011, Real Steel is based on the Richard Matheson short story Steel. Here we go. It was published in the May 1956 edition of the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction before being adapted into a Twilight Zone episode in 1963. Directed by Levy, the film tells the story of a former boxer, Charlie Kenton, Hugh Jackman, whose sport has been taken over by robots, so he works with his son to build their own robot. It's somewhat a bit annoying in the film. If the film didn't have the kid in it, it'd be miles better. Anyway, like Real Steel 2 and the Disney Plus series, it took several years of development before production began on Real Steel in June 2010. The Hugh Jackman movie was filmed primarily in the US state of Michigan. Special animatronic robots were built for the project. Motion capture technology... Did I say that right? Say that again. Motion capture technology was used to create the rodeo-style combat of computer-generated and animatronic robots. Real Steel was released in October 2011, crikey, that long ago, and earned $299.3 million at the global box office. How much did it cost? What was its budget, though? I'm going to look it up. Right, look it up. Real Steel budget. 80 million. Oh, I don't know. There's two numbers. There's two numbers there. $110 million. So yeah, it did okay. It did okay. It didn't make a massive profit. Remember, it's got to make. I mean, some say 3 times as much as the production budget. So you could say it made a loss. I think it all depends, doesn't it, on how much they spent on marketing. Anyway. Hugh will be in the sequel, but his son will have become his daughter and taken over the main character role. Yes. Yes, to get some trans representation in. The Hugh Jackman movie received mixed reviews on Metacritic. However, critics via Rotten Tomatoes were kinder, with the movie still holding a 60% approval rating, alongside a 73% audience score. The site's general consensus says that while the story has a silly premise, not really, it is still a good movie. I like it. It's nice. It's nice, is Real Steel. And as I said, sequel, steel wheels, robot racing cars. But anyway, it could be like a sequel to Days of Thunder. You could get Tom Cruise in as a crusty old ex-racer, because racing now is all robots in the film, doing what Hugh Jackman did in the first one. But anyway, I think this is one of the movies I watched on a mail DVD from Netflix. I never signed up for that, when they used to do that. They were Netflix and Love Film, weren't they? And I never partook of those services. Hugh Jackman was last seen on the big screen in the 2022 drama The Soul. Oh, cracker yawning. Ooh, cracker. Florian Zeller directed the movie from a script he co-wrote with Christopher Hampton. I don't care. The cast also features the talent. Don't know, not bothered. Why is it telling us about this film that nobody cares about? Probably because they were paid money to add that bit at the end. But yes, Real Steel 2, make it. Or do Steel Wheels and give me a writing credit. Or story idea by that old Yorkshire geek. Dear. Anyway, right, cool. So I hope they do, but I bet they don't. Or the series might just suddenly pop back into life. Why would they not mention he's about to be in Deadpool? They did at the beginning. Hugh Jackman is teaming up with Ryan Reynolds, director Sean Levy for Deadpool and Wolverine. The three-ad pool. But anyway, briefly in passing, they mentioned it at the beginning. Right. So there we go. I hope they do make that. Either a sequel film or the series. And don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Just make it fun and fine. Right, what's next? Star Wars. Hang on. I must have been yawning then. Not surprised. Even I'm yawning. And I'm doing the bloody show. I've done that. Right. Screen Rant, Liz Declan says, Disney's recent Star Wars TV shows have turned its first movie title into nonsense. The most basic idea behind Star Wars The Force Awakens has been completely shattered by the most recent Star Wars TV shows and tie-ins. Let's have a think. I suppose so, yeah. I don't know. I suppose it kind of has. I don't know, because they haven't caught up, have they? So I haven't read this article, by the way, but I'm thinking, obviously in The Force Awakens, the beginning, there's something has awakened. So obviously the Force were kind of, they're trying to suggest that the Force was dormant. But it can't have been, because there's always Snoke about and Palpatine doing his stuff. And so the Force is always there, isn't it? But, Luke shut himself off from the Force, didn't he? But I don't know. But the TV series and that, with Ahsoka and all these other Jedi and stuff running about, but that's in the past, isn't it? Remember, Force Awakens is like 35 years after Return of the Jedi or something like that, isn't it? Anywho, just to say, I have to go. Got a lot to finish. Have a great evening, and we'll chat with you all later. Yes, you have a great evening too, Josh, and good luck with your new job when you start it. And I hope they throw you a big party at your old place. I do. So have a great evening, mate. Thanks for dropping in. Right, so let's read this. There she is. There's Ray. I like Daisy Ridley. I do. I like Daisy Ridley. She needs to eat a few pies, though. Star Wars The Force Awakens, Disney's very first Star Wars movie, has only made less sense over time, and its title is no exception. The Star Wars sequel trilogy has received considerable criticism since it began nearly a decade ago, with some considering the trilogy among Star Wars' worst movies. Pretty much, yeah. Although I do like Force Awakens, I must admit, I do like it. While more recent additions to Star Wars movies and TV shows have attempted to flesh the sequels out and better connect them to the larger Star Wars galaxy at times, these additional shows have only made the flaws with the sequel movies more glaring. But remember, the movies, apart from Star Wars Resistance, the animated film, which were set in the same time as The Force Awakens. But all the others have been set in the past, haven't they? So they're closer in time to the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. Anyway, of course, this isn't to discredit the sequels entirely. In fact, Rey's upcoming Star Wars movie, if it happens, promises to be one of the most exciting among Star Wars' upcoming movies. No, it ain't. And it will build upon the sequels. However, aspects of the Star Wars sequel trilogy do suggest some significant oversights. The Force Awakens title, in particular, reflects a discontinuity with the rest of Star Wars that is difficult to rectify. The Force Awakens implies that the Force was dormant. Right, see what they say. The title of The Force Awakens suggests, that the Force has been dormant for some period following Return of the Jedi. When The Force Awakens was released, that seemed plausible. Although numerous Star Wars Legends books had fleshed out that period, they had almost all been removed from canon when Disney bought Star Wars. Because they don't have, 800 books to fall back on. In light of that, this point in the Star Wars timeline was fairly unexplored. Moreover, while Star Wars has since added several shows set during that era, but it hadn't, including the Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian and Ahsoka at the time non-existed. Yeah, but they're set just after the original trilogy, aren't they? Just, a couple of years, a few years after. What books exactly? That's Kathleen Kennedy, isn't it? What books? There's been a meme going around, hasn't there? I've seen it on like Twitter or Facebook or something, where she's saying that quote, we haven't got the 800 books and to fall back on to get story ideas from, and then there's somebody pointing at the expanded universe, whatever they call it, on bookshelves. Where do you think Thrawn came from? But anyway, never mind. Right, moreover, Luke's absence and the lack of any other Jedi at the film's beginning seemed to signal that the title was accurate. The Force Awakens plot centered on both the First Order and the Resistance, desperately searching for Luke Skywalker, who had gone into exile, which suggested that he had cut himself off from the Force and abandoned the Jedi path, especially given how Return of the Jedi concluded, with Luke certainly being the hope for the Jedi, but also the only one left. This could have meant there were no active Jedi by the time of The Force Awakens. However, since the conclusion of Disney's Star Wars sequel trilogy, multiple shows have proven that there were Jedi between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. But the time period we're in with Ahsoka and Mandalorian is closer to the Return of the Jedi than The Force Awakens. But anyway, there's no source material. Yes. Oh dear. In Ahsoka alone, Ahsoka Tano, Sabine Wren, and Ezra Bridger are all shown to be active Jedi. Just Sabine Wren particularly just magically becomes a Jedi. She couldn't move a coffee cup, and then just suddenly she's flames and sparks and everything. Stupid show, God. And the first episode was so good, but anyway. Albeit to varying degrees of skill during the New Republic era, while their fates are still unclear in the larger Star Wars timeline, it's nevertheless already canon that in the years between the original and prequel trilogies, Jedi other than Luke existed. Yes, but we don't know, do we? As we get closer to Force Awakens, maybe they've gone by then. I mean, they will have to have, won't they? If they're going to keep Force Awakens in canon, something's going to have to happen. Given when Ahsoka takes place in the Star Wars timeline, here we go, approximately 5 to 10 years after Return of the Jedi, it's possible that by the time The Force Awakens begins, they have died or stopped using the Force. However, that would be a remarkably abrupt turn, suggesting that they each die or walk away from the Force within the next 2 decades. Of course, with Star Wars, it's often never say never, but all signs currently point to other Jedi existing leading up to The Force Awakens. I think they're going to use these witches, these Dathomir sisters, whatever they call them, I forgot what they call them now, that they're bringing back in Ahsoka from this other galaxy. They're going to do something and bugger up the Force. That's what they're going to do, I think. Or bugger up the good side of the Force. There was very little Force, even in the OG. It was a myth to some. Well, yeah. In the original trilogy, it was, even Luke didn't even know what it was, did he? The Force? He didn't even know what it was. The Force is an energy field created by all living things. He had to have all that told to him, didn't he? But there were Jedi who survived Order 66, barely. Yes, but as I said, that's closer to the original trilogy, isn't it? So maybe they were all asleep, and when Rey took her rightful name, they all woke up. Even Ahsoka. But yes, as it says here, though, this is closer to the original trilogy than it is to The Force Awakens. So something's going to, if they do it right, something's going to happen. If they're going to keep it all in canon, something's got to happen on it before the time of The Force Awakens. Anyway, let's see what happens. In this article, as Star Wars has often reiterated, though, the Jedi don't own the Force. That has only become more prevalent in recent projects, which depict others outside the Jedi wielding the Force, such as the Night Sisters of Dathomir. I thought they were used I thought that wasn't the Force, though, that they used. I thought it was something else that were Force-like, but I don't know. Star Wars has Force-sensitive witches. Even in the sequel trilogy, a small boy on Canto Bight, oh yes, Broom Boy, is shown using the Force to pull a broom towards him. Whatever happened to him? Showing that the Force exists all across the galaxy, not just for Star Wars' main characters. This proves that whether or not any Jedi remained immediately before The Force Awakens, the Force always existed. Yes, because it's in all living things. And rocks as well, and everything. Because you can feel the Force around you, between you, the rock, you, the rock, the ship, and all that, Anyway, in fact, yet another key example of the Star Wars Disney Plus TV show is Grogu, who elects to leave Luke's Jedi Temple and abandon the path of a Jedi to be with Din Djarin in the Book of Boba Fett. Ka-ching! Yeah, for Disney. The Force is a gift from the Ori. Yes, it is. Hallowed are the Ori. I want one of them books. Can you buy them? The Book of Ori or the Book of Origin. Can you get them? I want one. I want to see what it says inside. Surely somebody's written one. Surely. Oh dear. The title of The Force Awakens. Hang on. Grogu is a powerful Force user in the New Republic era, and despite not being a Jedi, he presumably continues to wield the Force. The title of The Force Awakens could be a question of perspective, or a point of view. Oh, perhaps from the point of view, of the Skywalker saga, the Resistance, or Luke Skywalker himself, because it all depends on your own point of view. According to Obi-Wan, the Force is finally waking back up. However, there's little chance it's accurate that the Force was truly asleep prior to The Force Awakens. After all, even if it was the dark side, it's clear that at least Kylo Ren was still an active Force user at that time. While Star Wars The Force Awakens is a compelling title, it is sadly one that made less and less sense as time has gone on. I'm sure they'll have an excuse. They'll think of something. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Yes, that's what he said, didn't he? In Revenge of the Fifth. I'm sure they'll think of something. But anyway, they were terrible titles, though. The Force Awakens is not a bad title, but they all started with the, didn't they? All the sequel trilogies, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker. At least George could think up an interesting title that were, didn't have the in it, apart from The Empire Strikes Back. But anyway, so I don't think it makes it into nonsense. I think they'll think of something. to explain why the Force needed awakening. But I think it's referring to the good side of the Force, and the they don't want Sith, were they? But Kylo Ren and Snoke, quotes, Palpatine. They were the major Force users in the galaxy. There were probably others knocking about, but they weren't trained like they were. Then they sensed, that there were an awakening, that what's the face? Rey were coming into her own, blossoming into womanhood, and becoming a Mary Sue. Anyway. So there we go. Next. Right, gaming news, because, something of a gamer myself. The big news will be sticking for Star Wars, Star Wars Outlaws, Ubisoft, or is it Ubisoft? I've heard it pronounced both ways. Whatever. With their, DLC controversy. And I don't know why it's a controversy, but anyway. Ubisoft, whatever, responds to fans after Star Wars Outlaws Season Pass controversy. I don't know. I prefer Star Wars In-Laws. Are you married to Star Wars, Wingrace? Despite being a Star Wars game with a pre-established fan base, Star Wars Outlaws seems to have the cards stacked against it. Even though it has an original story, by the way, this is on GG Recon, written by Joseph Kime. Even though it has an original story, players know exactly what an open-world Ubisoft game will look like. It will look like Assassin's Creed or Far Cry, won't be one of those, will it? The developer hasn't done much to convince players that it'll be a truly unique slice of gameplay excuse me, just yet, but it won't stop die-hard Star Wars fans from being excited. If they're playing with the expensive premium edition of the game pre-ordered, then there's certainly no reason to be concerned. That's just the problem, though, as one mission is exclusive to fans with more disposable income, already forcing players to feel left out in the cold. But all games have done that, haven't they? All games have bloody... had DLCs, but I don't know what they're on about. But it looks like Ubisoft is biting back against bad faith claims. Oh, Judah. Missions being reserved for players who pick up the most expensive version of a game is a practice that's hardly new, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't upset fans, as Star Wars Outlaws revealed that its Jabba's Gambit mission is only coming to those with the deepest pockets. Players have been rightfully miffed, but apparently Jabba's still in the basic version of the game. Still, the regular version of the game is still in it. But they're just like I say, a DLC, or whatever you want to call it, mission. Which all games do that, don't they? Anyway, it's a tough issue to make sense of, as clearly the mission is designed to welcome players into the game's upper tiers of payment, but Ubisoft has reassured critics that they're not entirely missing out. To clarify, a quote, Jabba the Hutt and the Hutt Cartel are one of the main syndicates in Star Wars Outlaws and will be part of the experience for everyone who purchases the game, regardless of edition. An Ubisoft, that's obviously Ubisoft how they're pronouncing it in this website, an Ubisoft representative tells PC Gamer in a statement. The Jabba's Gambit mission is an optional, additional mission with the Hutt Cartel along Kay and Nix's journey across the Outer Rim. This mission will be available to those who purchase the Season Pass or an edition of the game, which includes the Season Pass. Fans are still furious about it. This is from a tweet, X, whatever. As a lifelong Star Wars fan and Ubisoft didn't mean to press that. An Ubisoft partner. Where are we? Oh, for God's sake. Just a minute, stupid bloody thing. Never mind. Right, back. I won't click on that. I thought it was just going to appear there instead of opening up a new window. Hopefully they'll quote it here. Oh, go away. Oh, yes, I know I'm using a bloody ad blocker. Oh, it's pissing me off now. Getting on my nerves. No, not you. Bugger off. It's all since this European thing that came in, where they've got to have consent and stuff to open up a bloody web page. Pain in the ass. Where were we? Right. Even with Ubisoft, whatever the bloody hell they're called, insisting that players won't miss out on Jabba the Hutt and his criminal underworld, it doesn't change the fact that players are missing out on gameplay if they don't pay extra on top of the full price AAA game. Unsurprisingly, the cat's at the window now. Unsurprisingly, they're still deeply unhappy about it. One joked, it's called Star Wars Outlaws because these kinds of paywalls for day one content should be illegal. Well, I must admit, saying that though, I don't know. If you are paying extra, you want to get extra stuff. If you get the premium edition, you want to get more than is in the standard edition, don't you? So why not? Why not? I don't know what they're moaning about. Should be illegal. Anyway, while another added, so much about this game has been a travesty and it's not even out. A third complained, yeah, classic Ubisoft greed ruined what might be a decent game. So sick of AAA right now. Behave. As someone else rightly pointed out, that is why it's best to buy games 20 years after launch. 20 years. With all DLCs, unannounced expansions and final patches all in one package at a huge discounted price. Single-player games are evergreen anyway. Well, you just wait, don't you, for the Game of the Year edition. That's usually when you get all the DLCs, isn't it? It's no surprise that players don't want to offer Ubisoft more than they have to for Star Wars Outlaws, especially when Ubisoft, I'm going to switch, is willing to withhold content from a game that is priced like a full experience by itself. It seems game companies never learn. Is that it? Oh, right, that's another story now, isn't it? I don't see the problem with it myself. I don't understand. If you're paying more for like a premium edition, then you want to get more than is with the regular priced edition, don't you? So it's like, you want to get more missions or DLCs or, outfits or whatever. Better weapons, whatever. It's actually the price that people are complaining about as well as the wokeness. Well, the wokeness of it. Is it going to be woke? I mean, there's this, what is it, K-Vess or whatever she's called, that they've uglified, the model for the character was gorgeous, isn't she? They've made her ugly, giving her this, I don't know, a man's face for some weird reason. But there is that. But is the game going to be woke? I don't know. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. I mean, she's a girl boss, isn't she? So, But, will she be? I don't know. If she's not perfect, then, and she does lose at things, or she's just going to be super ace at everything, I don't know, but we'll see, won't we? We will see, but I'll not be getting it, because I can't afford it. So, but see what happens when it comes out. I bet it'll be a good game, because Ubisoft generally make, good entertaining games, don't they, usually? And it'd be interesting with an open world, can you travel from planet to planet, just willy-nilly, wherever you want to go, going into hyperspace? That'd be cool, won't it? Anyway, I know you can do that in Jedi Survivor and all that. Is it Jedi? No, Fallen Order. I haven't played Jedi Survivor yet, and Jedi Fallen Order, but anyway. I haven't played a game, played the Star Wars games since I tried Battlefront 2. I've only played Jedi Fallen Order. I didn't get very far into Battlefront 2. I couldn't get past the bloody the ATST. But never mind. We have to like her because she's forced to be a thief. As I said, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not gonna judge it before it comes out. It might be crap, it might be amazing. We will see. I'm not going to have other people telling me how to think about things, but, without me looking into it myself. Anyway, right. And having a chance to, experience the game or watch a review or whatever, or watch somebody else play it or whatever. Right, anyway. Star Trek time. This one's from the BBC. Who wrote this? Jamie Russell. Star Trek Scotty, played by a Scot for the first time. And there he is. Martin Quinn follows in the footsteps of Canadian actor James Doohan in playing Scotty. Do you have the Godzilla Minus One news? I haven't seen any, no. Haven't seen any Godzilla Minus One news. What's the news about that? But anyway, Scotty. For the first time in almost 60 years, Star Trek character Scotty is being played by a Scottish actor. Previously, the role had been filled by Canadian actor James Doohan and Englishman Simon Pegg. Now, Scottish actor Martin Quinn is portraying a younger version of the character in the prequel series Star Trek Strange New Worlds. We saw him at the end of season 2, didn't we? Season 2. Martin jokingly told BBC... it's season 1. No, it's season 2, wasn't it? Yeah. Martin jokingly told BBC Scotland News, "We are rebranding him. He's from Paisley now." Which is that Glasgow? Is Paisley a suburb of Glasgow? I think it is, isn't it? Montgomery Scotty Scott has been a character in the science fiction franchise since it first began in 1966. Doohan played the Scottish spaceship engineer in the original series and 7 Star Trek films before Pegg took over on the role for director J.J. Abrams' reboot from 2009. Martin's young Scotty appeared as a surprise cameo at the end of the second season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and he will play a recurring role in season 3. The 30-year-old from the Gallow Hill area of Paisley says he hopes even more Scottish people will watch Star Trek now that they have cast a real Scot. Streaming on Amazon. Is it? Oh, cool. I will look out for that. Or is it about to be streaming on Amazon? I don't know. Who played his voice in season 1? Yeah, I don't know what it's Scotty. I don't know. The chief engineer on Kirk's ship, which I can't remember the whatchamacallit. I'm blanking. On that ship. It had a Scottish accent, didn't it? But what it's supposed to be Scotty, I don't know. Anyway. Maybe what? I don't know. It's the power of representation, isn't it? He said. I was always into Star Wars because Ewan McGregor was there. It's because there was a Scottish guy in Star Wars. Even though he was doing an English accent, it was like, that's so cool. He's from here and he's in Hollywood. I wasn't as interested in Star Trek because it wasn't a real Scottish person. You're not endearing yourself to me, Martin. The Farragut, yeah, that's it. In the alternate universe, future season 1, it was Scott. All right, I didn't know. I know we heard him over the comms thing, didn't we? But I didn't know he was identified as Scotty. It was a crap episode, anyway. While neither Doohan nor Pegg had a natural Scottish accent, both actors and their character were beloved by fans. Martin says, Doohan, yeah. I think James Doohan based the character off some Aberdonian he had heard. I think even in his bio, I think it says it's from Aberdeen. I'm sure, or is it Glasgow? I'm sure it's Aberdeen. Even though Glasgow is the one with the shipyards, but anyway. And even Lynn Lithgow, it's a town. And even Lynn Lithgow has claimed him, but I'm not sure what that's from. In 2022, when Martin was auditioning for the series, producers gave the show a code name so he would not know it was Star Trek. I suppose that helped because you weren't putting pressure on yourself to emulate James Doohan, he says. Since taking the role, he says he has been working with writers to suggest authentic Scottish changes to his character. So going to be like supping iron brew and eating haggis and and neeps. They let me put in the word boarhide, or whatever, instead of turnip heed, he says. They'll be calling people bore bags and stuff, won't they? Anyway, maybe they think all Scottish people are farmers, but they were very gracious about it. And the writers are wanting to be authentic to Scotland as well, and that's really nice. Not everyone's like that. Marty says his accent has caused occasional confusion with the North American cast and crew on set. I don't know what you mean. Nobody struggles with my accent. I'm constantly having to enunciate because I don't think they know what I'm saying, he says. I loved in Futurama they recast Scotty with Welshie after Doohan left. Oh dear. He's trying to find the balance because it's not just Scottish people watching this TV show, but I want it to be as authentic as possible to how I speak. Should do it like Russ Abbott's Scottish fella that he used to do. Martin began his acting career when he was 6 years old at whatever that stands for, Pace Youth Theatre in Paisley. The theatre school's alumni also includes actor James McAvoy and singer-songwriter Paolo Nutini, who I've never heard of. When he was 18, Martin was cast in the lead role in the National Theatre of Scotland production of Let the Right One In. Great film, and Let Me In is not bad either. It took him to the Dundee Rep and eventually to London's West End, where he was spotted by the actors Richard Wilson, I don't believe it, and Alan Rickman, I'll get you, Harry Potter, etc. They funded the last portion of his scholarship that let him attend Guildhall Drama School in London. That London. However, it was Martin's first paid role in BBC comedy Limmy's Show, never heard of it, that he says he owes everything to. It meant I got praise for doing acting as opposed to a slagging by his classmates, he says. He also says there can be a working class boy stigma that if you prefer acting to football, there is something wrong with you. We're potentially missing out on the next generation of really good Scottish actors, and that is a bit of a worry, he says. What he's trying to say is he's from working class, tough guy background, and they think you're a, basically, if you go be an actor, you're a bit of a puff. That's what they'll be saying, won't it? That's what they say around here. Not that you can say words like that these days, but I just did. So there we go. So Scotty's a Scot for the first time. But I bet he can't do as good a data as James Doohan, can they? Bet he can't. James Doohan's data is something to behold, isn't it, Wingrace? Right, let's move on. Nearly done. It's all Star Trek from now on to the end, by the way. Giant Freaking Robot again. I think the last two are from Giant Freaking Robot. Yes, they are. The last two Star Trek stories are from Giant Freaking Robot. Star Trek Lower Decks can actually be saved, says Charlene Badesi. Affirmative. I am Data. That's what it was like. Oh dear. In an audio book. Right, after Paramount Plus revealed that Star Trek Lower Decks will end after Season 5, Jack Quaid, who voices Brad Boimler in the popular animated series, told his followers on Instagram that he hoped the show can find a new home. I'm so sad to announce that Paramount Plus won't be moving forward with more seasons of Lower Decks, he wrote. I can't begin to tell you what an honour it has been, but I've just noticed, there, he's screaming there, and it's almost exactly the same as that scream there, but they're obviously different things, different uniforms, and they can see his bottom teeth, but you can't in that, but they're essentially the same, aren't they? But anyway, I can't begin to tell you what an honour it's been to be a part of this show and the Star Trek universe at large. I'm unbelievably grateful for 5 awesome seasons with this wonderful family, Quaid continued. I could play Boimler for 17 more seasons. No joke, I'm serious. I love that purple-haired nerd. Hopefully we find a new home. But until then, please look forward to an amazing Season 5 airing this fall. Hopefully we find a new home. Fans of Star Trek Lower Decks will be disappointed as the animated series has been consistent in entertainment value over its first 4 seasons. Created by Mike McMahon for Paramount Plus, the show is the 9th instalment in the Star Trek television franchise and its first comedy. I'm sure Amazon or Netflix will be interested. We'll see, won't we? That's why I went, Set in the 24th century, the story follows the low-ranking support crew of the starship Cerritos. While there has been no indication that Star Trek Lower Decks is being shopped around, it won't be the first time a show has been saved by another network or streaming service. Star Trek Prodigy was in a similar situation in June 2023 when it was cancelled by Paramount Plus and removed from Paramount Plus. Why? I don't know. Despite being produced in-house and being a key push by franchise executive producer Alex Kurtzman. Star Trek Prodigy, which aimed to introduce the property to a younger generation, was working on a second season when it was axed by Paramount Plus as part of the streamer's efforts to take tax write-offs for underperforming series. Fortunately, after extensive campaigning by fans, Netflix decided to buy the series. Season 1 is available to stream, while Season 2 will be released this year. Hang on. Wasn't the TOS animated show a comedy, though? No, it wasn't. Did they say Prodigy Season 3? Wrong. No, Season 2. I might have said Season 3. Season 2 will be released this year. I might have said Season 3, because I'm an idiot. I'm always saying the wrong things. I called Christopher Reeve Christopher Lee, didn't I, in my video yesterday. If you're listening to me, if anybody's if they're listening to this on Google, whatever, Google Podcasts or whatever, Amazon Podcasts or one of the others that it's not, you're not seeing me, or you're not seeing the articles I'm reading, I apologise for all the mistakes and misread words I'm going to do. Oh dear. Anyway, Star Trek Prodigy's future on Netflix offers a glimmer of hope to fans of Star Trek Lower Decks, who hope to see the story continue. CBS Animation Productions produced Lower Decks Season 5 in association with Secret Hideout, Important Science, Roddenberry Entertainment, and the animation studio Titmouse. Mike McMahon serves as showrunner with Barry J. Kelly working... Why is Barry just... Why is Barry... got a link. Working as a supervising director. Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5 was ordered in March 2023 with writing already underway. The season was almost complete when McMahon said it could possibly be the last outing for the series. I thought I heard that, but thought I was wrong. I don't know. I forgot what I want to. The show faces further setbacks as voice recording was delayed by the 2023 Film Actors Guild strikes. Consisting of 10 episodes, Season 5 is expected to premiere on Paramount Plus in late 2024. Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4 is currently available to purchase via various digital platforms, as well as Blu-ray and DVD. I didn't even know they were out on Blu-ray and DVD. I didn't, honest. Season 4 marked a significant milestone for Beckett Mariner, who confronted her anxieties about assuming command roles within Starfleet. This progression directly links Star Trek Lower Decks to the original Star Trek The Next Generation Lower Decks episode. Oh, yeah. I didn't like that. Ensigns Mariner, Rutherford, Boimler, Tendi and Provisional Ensign Tallinn are staying on top of their Starfleet responsibilities. But like I say, some of them are lieutenants now. They're steering clear of eerie computers and finding themselves in a few tight spots in caves during their adventures. They also meet new and familiar aliens. The two-disc collection includes all 10 episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, a featurette, an exclusive audio commentary, and exclusive audio commentary tracks from the show's cast and crew. Per the official synopsis, why are they telling us about this? But anyway, the season sees a mysterious force destroy starships and threaten galactic peace. However, since the USS Cerritos crew isn't important enough, they are busy with other adventures. Oh, that's it. Right. So just end with a plug for season 4 on Blu-ray and DVD. It'd be nice if they carry on, but I suspect it's just going to be finished off. I hope they finish it off well. I hope he's had time as Mike McMahon to write a good ending for him, like an all good things style, finale. I don't mean the adventure. I mean, the last part of All Good Things with its perfect ending, which they copied in Star Trek Picard, didn't they? Haven't the French already seen season 2 of Prodigy? Yes, they have, haven't they? Yes, they have. But anyway, well, is it still available, or were it yanked off whatever it were airing on? I don't know what it were on, but in France, but it was there, wasn't it? At least for a while. Maybe it still is. I don't know. Presumably in French. Les lower decks. I don't know what that is in French. I don't know. I did French at school, but I don't know. Saw the rumour it will be a riff on All Good Things. Yeah, what did I say? I didn't say All Good Things, did I? What did I say? What? I'm sure I said something. What did I say? I don't know. The entire series was released at once. Prodigy in France is there, part of a deal before it left Paramount. Okie dokie. Like I say, it'll be in French, I imagine. But has it appeared online, on the Yar places? Skull and Crossbones places? I don't know. Is it in English? Does it have multi-audio tracks in English and French and all that jazz? I don't know. We can wait. We can wait for it to come on Netflix. So it just shows that it must be ready to go, innit? So why not just bloody get it out there? So they're making us keep us waiting. And no, the original TOS animated series was not a comedy. It was, a serious, the serious science fiction stories. But they had, lighter moments in, like the original, live action did. But no, it wasn't a comedy. Anyway. I'm not saying I do, but I'll have a look. Right, anyway, so there we go. So, I hope so. Hopefully they'll do an All Good Things ending. I'm trying to remember what I said. I didn't say All Good Things, did I? I meant that. But I said something else and I forgot what it was. Anyway, I forgot what I said. Something stupid. Anyway, but the animated series has a couple comedy episodes. Practical Joke. What's that? Light-hearted, I suppose you could say. Anyway, right, so let's move on. I hope they either do a... Oh, keep doing that on the wrong bloody screen. I hope they give it a good send-off. Either a good send-off or... I hope they don't end on a cliffhanger. That's what I'm trying to say. Right, finally, the last story. Again from Giant Freaking Robot, Joshua Tyler this time. Star Trek fooled you! Worf isn't the first Klingon in Starfleet. I bet Joshua knows, I bet Windgrace knows all about this. So I saw that Joshua and it scrambled my mind. Because everybody in America is called Joshua, apparently. They've got trees named after him. When Star Trek fans think of Klingons, they think of Worf. Or as my mum would say, Warf. Black Flag site doesn't have season 2. Okie dokie. Right, think of Warf. He's the only character to star in now 3 Star Trek shows. And he was also the first Klingon in Starfleet. Except in a way, he was not the first. Many years Before Worf took his station serving under Captain Picard aboard the Enterprise D, a Klingon ensign served on the Enterprise A under the command of Captain Kirk. Pardon me, I wonder he thought of that. Because he's never trusted Klingons and he never will. His name was Konom. Konom. And if you're a Trekkie, then it's up to you to make sure his name is not forgotten. The year was 1984. By then, Star Trek had been off television for more than a decade. It would be another 3 years before Star Trek The Next Generation arrived. The franchise only existed in movies, and the next one of those, Star Trek IV The Voyage Home, was more than 2 years away. Star Trek fans starving for new adventures had only one place to turn: comics. Star Trek comics had existed before. They had a 61-issue run from the company Gold Key from 1967 to 1979, and Marvel briefly had the license in 1979. In 1984, Star Trek III The Search for Spock came and went to mixed reviews, and no one knew how long it would be before there was more Star Trek. In February of that same year, DC Comics launched its first run of Star Trek comics, and when they did it, they gave us an Enterprise with new additions to the crew. Ensign Konom, Starfleet's first Klingon officer. So here we go, there's from the comic. And there he is, Ensign Konom in his mighty maroon, or whatever the bloody hell they call it. Right, one of the most significant of these was Konom, Starfleet's first Klingon officer. Konom appeared in the very first issue of DC's original Star Trek run, a creation of prolific Star Trek writer Mike W. Barr. The comics are great, but definitively not canon. Well, no, none of the comics are they? Unless they're adaptations of the movies. He would remain a fixture through all 56 issues. More than a background character, Konom became a pivotal figure and one that resonated with fans. So when Trekkies learned that Star Trek The Next Generation would have a Klingon officer on the bridge, they hoped they'd be getting a character modelled after Konom. What they got was the exact opposite. Okay. Unlike Lieutenant Worf, Konom was a pacifist and a dedicated family man. He fell in love with a human colleague named Nancy Bryce. They're all cheering. Yay! They married and adopted a mentally challenged half Klingon and cared for it. Was 1984. Okay. And cared for him in a loving family environment aboard the Enterprise, and even during a brief stint, maybe, don't know, aboard the Excelsior. Oh, bye. Konom bravely betrays the Empire to stop the killing. By contrast, Worf aspires to be a warrior and often struggles to control his bloodlust. When he has a child, he neglects that child and sends him to live with someone else. I wouldn't say neglects him. He just thinks his duties as a Starfleet officer mean he can't really look after him properly, can they? So that's why he sends him to his human parents. Where Worf grew up on Earth, Konom was raised in the Klingon Empire, even serving in the Klingon Defence Force. I've always wondered, why do they call it that? You know, the Klingons are supposed to be this aggressive warrior race. Why is their armed forces called the Klingon Defence Force? Weird, isn't it? Before defecting to the Federation, Konom puts everything on the line out of his love and respect for Federation ideals. Worf spends most of his time in the Federation obsessed with figuring out what it means to be a real Klingon. I don't think he does, and idealising the violent honour culture that Konom rejects. I don't think that's true either. Worf knows. Worf is more Klingon than most Klingons. He knows what a real Klingon is. Anyway, bet they never gave any thought to this when making Worf. Probably not. This first DC attempt at Star Trek comics featuring unique characters like Konom, Bearclaw, and Nancy Bryce interacting with familiar heroes like Kirk, Spock and McCoy was a success. As I said, how will Kirk... I'd say if this were before Star Trek 3, might get away with it. Because, before David... Spoilers, before David gets murdered in Star Trek 3. Maybe it's before that. Anyway, for Trek fans in those empty years, they were what kept the franchise alive in their minds. While those comic book adventures would eventually be relegated to unofficial beta canon, or beta, however you want to pronounce it, that doesn't mean they'll be forgotten, and maybe someday, somehow, the brave and principled Ensign Konom will finally get his due as the true first Klingon in Starfleet. Is this a different story, or is this the same? No, it is the same one, isn't it? Star Trek's ultimate what if, Admiral Kirk and the Excelsior. Ooh, look, there's a Klingon bird of prey. Cloaked. Looks like Wonder Woman's bird of prey. Konom's time serving aboard the Excelsior happened when after Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, no one knew where the franchise was going next. Kirk had blown up the Enterprise in Wrath of Khan. No, he blew it up in Star Trek 3. Stupid. And in order to have more adventures, he needed a new ship. The writers of Star Trek comics decided to give him the Excelsior, and not knowing what would happen to the Klingon bird of prey Kirk stole in The Search for Spock, they let him keep that too. Oh dear. The result was a fun series of stories in which Admiral Kirk is in charge of his own mini-fleet. He's captain of the Enterprise, and Spock tags along with him in the bird of prey, offering a cloaked assist when needed. Obviously, Star Trek 4 went in a totally different direction than the one the comics writers guessed, but even that was eventually incorporated along with those new characters like Konom. Oh, that's it, that's the end. So that's very interesting, that. I'd never heard of this, you see, because I'm not into comics, because comics are for children. No, they're not. I'm kidding. I'm just being like Tony from Hack the Movies. He says stuff like that. So anyway, so there we go. Worf wasn't the first. It was Konom, but not in official canon. Not according to Memory Alpha. We've got to go to Memory Beta. Anyway, so there we go. I thought that was interesting. That I'd never heard of Konom before. So Konom the Barbarian. Oh, I've done it again. I keep pressing F11 on the wrong screen because I'm stupid. Right, there's a whole movie era arc with the mirror universe that's cool. I imagine there'll be all sorts of stuff, won't there? Like years and years between films, the comics can just do what they want, basically, can't they? I know they did it with Star Wars and that, didn't they? But there we go. Right, we're done. We'll leave it there. We're all done and dusted for another week. I'm going to check that one. Just let me check. Hang on, where are we? Oh, I've done the wrong thing again. Godzilla Minus One. Let's have a look. Is it coming to Amazon? Godzilla. Oh, can't bloody spell it. I can't type. Right. Oh, here we go. Godzilla Minus One confirms its first streaming release with a caveat. God, it's all bloody pop-ups. Oh, it's getting me mad. Right. All right, here we go. So I'll show you this. Hang on, let me go full screen with it. Right, this one's from, I forgot, never mind. Where is it from? Digital Spy. Godzilla Minus One has been given a streaming release date, but with a caveat. The Oscar-winning Japanese language film will be available on Prime Video on May 3rd. The caveat is that this is only for Japan. Streaming release dates for territories like the UK and the US have not been announced at the time of writing. So that's where you get a VPN, don't you? And plenty more Savic in the Star Trek stuff, not Godzilla Minus One. Pardon me. There's a reason why fans have been eagerly awaiting the chance to watch the film again. Oh, excuse me. Not only does it boast visual effects that won it an Academy Award and a fraction of the budget of most Hollywood blockbusters, but the most successful Japanese film in the franchise has also received tons of acclaim for its story. Although Godzilla is a major part of the film, a huge focus of it is about the post-war devastation inflicted upon Japan's homes, blah, 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 blah. In terms of physical releases, Japan is getting a selection of home versions on May the 1st. Proofreading, thing of the past. Led by a fancy 4-disc set that comes with a 4K Ultra HD version, Blu-ray disc, both the colour and black and white versions, and another Blu-ray disc full of bonus features. Is that just in Japan again? It comes with some glorious packaging, art cards and a booklet too. Again, only Japan has had a physical version announced. I hate Toho. They're horrible on YouTube, for copyright strikes and that, and blocking and stuff, and racists. Again, only Japan has a physical version announced at the current time, but given the worldwide popularity of the film, fans in other territories will hopefully get a digital and physical releases sooner rather than later. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. So, yeah. So it's coming out in Japan on streaming on May the 3rd. So if you've got a VPN and set yourself for Japan, maybe you can watch it there. But will it have an English, either subtitles or audio track? Subtitles preferably. Don't know. I bet it don't. I bet it don't have English subtitles. Yes, it says VPN time. Black flag sites too. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see, won't we? I can't imagine it'll be too long after that it'll appear worldwide. Why are they holding on to it so tightly? I don't know. Toho are baffling. They're a baffling company. I don't understand them. Anyway, so there we go. So I'll add that to the list at the end. So there we had an extra story thanks to Windgrace. Anyway, my hat has shrunk, hasn't it? I'm sure it has. I'm sure this hat has shrunk. Feels dead tight. No dubs, please. No, terrible. Generally terrible out the audio dubs. Can't do with them. The best one is Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the original version. That had a good English dub, and it really matched up with the mouths as well. It was weird. But anyway. Right. We'll leave it there. Hang on. I did read somewhere that there was a November release for America. November? Bloody hell. Like 6 months after Japan. Christ. Anyway, right, we're done. We'll leave it there. What's coming up? What day are we on? Wednesday. So Friday night, Appointment with Fear. This week, we're doing Ginger Snaps. And I've had the bright idea... I might not do it yet. I might not do it. I've got the... Hang on, where is it? Where are they? Just bear with me. No, not that one. Is it that one? I've had a notion that... no, that way. I might do a double feature. Maybe Saturday. So Friday night Appointment with Theatre, I'll do the first Ginger Snaps, and I might do... I don't have to do it live or record it. I haven't made up my mind yet. It might be a live one. I don't know. We'll see. A double feature of Ginger Snaps Unleashed, Ginger Snaps 2, and Ginger Snaps Back, the beginning. Yeah. I might do them both as like, I don't know, a special, a Friday night Appointment with Theatre special. Like I did with Rec and Rec 2. I did Rec 2 as a special one, didn't I? So, yeah, I'll do that. On Saturday. But I haven't decided if I'm going to do it live or recorded. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. Right. That was for the DVD and Blu-ray with both versions. All right. Right. Godzilla is on about. Right, so that's that coming up. Next Monday on Magnificent Mondays is that Watership Down, and then the Monday after, Battle Beyond the Stars, or Los Seven Magnificos del Espacio, as it says on there. We're doing Battle Beyond the Stars a week on Monday. Great film. I'm looking forward to that. So there we go. So we'll leave it there. So thanks, Win Grace. Thanks, Sci-Fi Quest. And thanks, Josh Temple. Did we get anybody else pop in? I don't think we did. I didn't notice anybody. No, not that I can see. Not that I can see. So thanks for keeping me company as I read out the news. I didn't share the link again, did I? I didn't think that. I keep forgetting. I'm stupid. Anyway, great fun. Have a great night, y'all. Yes, you too. Ships with boobs and fallopian tubes. Designed by James Cameron. But we'll get into that a week on Monday. Great stream. See you soon, yes. See you soon as well. Where we'll be watching Rebel Moon, won't we? Right. So we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching, and wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll say that. I'm sure I forgot something. I'm going to say something, I forgot what it was. I'm sure I've forgotten something. Tough. So wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll say the...